6 in Las Vegas. Mika Sivo's stunning 4-try display helped the Rhinos thrash their opponents. The Fijian wing across twice and then created a third as the Rhinos ran rampant and continued their second half dominance. Darryl Clark marked his 350th Super League appearance with 2 tries and St Helens' thumping victory at Catalan Dragons. Saints ran out 36-4 winners in Perpignan, while Wellington Wolves made it 2 wins from 2 games as they beat Wakefield Trinity 27-16 in a second half fight back. In the Rugby Union Prem Cup, defending champions Bath of the powered local rivals Gloucester to win 38-26 in Pool A. Elsewhere in Rugby Union, and Ospreys beat Ulster 21-10 in the United Rugby Championship, while a last gasp Connaught try helped them beat Glasgow 15-10. In the T20 World Cup, Sabazada Farham in a superb century as Pakistan beat Sri Lanka by 5 runs in the T20 World Cup Super 8, but missed out on a semi-final spot on net run rate. They won by 5 runs after scoring 212 for 8. Into football, Harry Kane scored 2 second-half goals as Bayern Munich came from behind to beat Borussia Dortmund in a thrilling match and move 11 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. They ran out 3-2 winners, with Kane scoring in the 54th and 70th minutes. While in the Premier League, Michael Carrick has the chance to inflict damage on one of the men thought to be a contender for the Manchester United head coach will not be a motivating factor in Sunday's game against Crystal Palace. Oliver Glasner is the second favourite for the permanent role, with Carrick still in interim charge at Old Trafford. But Carrick insists it's not about a personal game or gain for either men, it's just a game for him to try and win, he said. That's all then for the latest headlines. A warm welcome along to today's sporting headlines, and we'll start with news in boxing. Mexico's Manuel Navarrete stopped compatriot Eduardo Nunes in a dominant display to unify the IBF and WBO super featherweight titles. After outclassing Nunes for much of the contest, Navarrete added the IBF title to his WBO crown when the ringside doctor stepped the action before the 11th round. Navarrete said it's difficult to see your opponent hurting there, but it's very difficult to not continue to win that fight. You never know what might happen in those last rounds. It could catch you with a shot and it could be over. So I had to continue doing my work. Elsewhere in tennis, Daniel Medvedev said it is not how I wanted to win a second Dubai Tennis Championships title after Talon Griekspoor withdrew from the final because of injury. Griekspoor injured his left hamstring during a 7-5, 7-6 semi-final win over Andrei Rublev on Friday. Said he would have retired injured had he lost the second set. The tournament said on Saturday that Griekspoor was deemed unfit to play after a medical assessment. Medvedev, who won the title in 2023, has now won the same tournament twice. His previous 22 titles have come at different events. Into Rugby League, and Leeds Rhinos put on a stunning display as they beat Hull KR 58-6 in Las Vegas. Mika Sivo's stunning 4-try display helped the Rhinos thrash their opponents. The Fijian wing across twice and then created a third as the Rhinos ran rampant and continued their second half dominance. Darryl Clark marked his 350th Super League appearance with 2 tries and St Helens' thumping victory at Catalan Dragons. Saints ran out 36-4 winners in Perpignan, while Wellington Wolves made it 2 wins from 2 games as they beat Wakefield Trinity 27-16 in a second half fight back. In the Rugby Union Prem Cup, defending champions Bath of the powered local rivals Gloucester to win 38-26 in Pool A. Elsewhere in Rugby Union, and Ospreys beat Ulster 21-10 in the United Rugby Championship, while a last gasp Connaught try helped them beat Glasgow 15-10. In the T20 World Cup, Sabazada Farham in a superb century as Pakistan beat Sri Lanka by 5 runs in the T20 World Cup Super 8, but missed out on a semi-final spot on net run rate. They won by 5 runs after scoring 212 for 8. Into football, Harry Kane scored 2 second-half goals as Bayern Munich came from behind to beat Borussia Dortmund in a thrilling match and move 11 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. They ran out 3-2 winners, with Kane scoring in the 54th and 70th minutes. While in the Premier League, Michael Carrick has the chance to inflict damage on one of the men thought to be a contender for the Manchester United head coach will not be a motivating factor in Sunday's game against Crystal Palace. Oliver Glasner is the second favourite for the permanent role, with Carrick still in interim charge at Old Trafford. But Carrick insists it's not about a personal game or gain for either men, it's just a game for him to try and win, he said. That's all then for the latest headlines. A warm welcome along to today's sporting headlines, and we'll start with news in boxing. Mexico's Manuel Navarrete stopped compatriot Eduardo Nunes in a dominant display to unify the IBF and WBO super featherweight titles. After outclassing Nunes for much of the contest, Navarrete added the IBF title to his WBO crown when the ringside doctor stepped the action before the 11th round. Navarrete said it's difficult to see your opponent hurting there, but it's very difficult to not continue to win that fight. You never know what might happen in those last rounds. It could catch you with a shot and it could be over. So I had to continue doing my work. Elsewhere in tennis, Daniel Medvedev said it is not how I wanted to win a second Dubai Tennis Championships title after talent Gripspor withdrew from the final because of injury. Gripspor injured his left hamstring during a 7-5, 7-6 semi-final win over Andrei Rublev on Friday. Said he would have retired injured had he lost the second set. The tournament said on Saturday that Gripspor was deemed unfit to play after a medical assessment. Medvedev, who won the title in 2023, has now won the same tournament twice. His previous 22 titles have come at different events. Into Rugby League, and Leeds Rhinos put on a stunning display as they beat Hull KR 58-6 in Las Vegas. Mika Sivo's stunning four-try display helped the Rhinos thrash their opponents. The Fijian wing across twice and then created a third as the Rhinos ran rampant and continued their second half dominance. Darryl Clark marked his 350th Super League appearance with 2 tries in St Helens' thumping victory at Catalan Dragons. Saints run out 36-4 winners in Perpignan, while Wellington Wolves made it 2 wins from 2 games as they beat Wakefield Trinity 27-16 in a second half fight back. In the Rugby Union Prem Cup, defending champions battled the powered local rivals Gloucester to win 38-26 in Pool A. Elsewhere in Rugby Union, and Ospreys beat Ulster 21-10 in the United Rugby Championship, while Alaska's Connaught try helped them beat Glasgow 15-10. In the T20 World Cup, Saibazada Farham made a superb century as Pakistan beat Sri Lanka by 5 runs in the T20 World Cup Super 8, but missed out on a semi-final spot on net run rate. They won by 5 runs after scoring 212 for 8. Into football, Harry Kane scored 2 second-half goals as Bayern Munich came from behind to beat Borussia Dortmund in a thrilling match and move 11 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. They ran out 3-2 winners, with Kane scoring in the 54th and 70th minutes. While in the Premier League, Michael Carrick has the chance to inflict damage on one of the men thought to be a contender for the Manchester United head coach will not be a motivating factor in Sunday's game against Crystal Palace. Oliver Glasner is the second favourite for the permanent role, with Carrick still in interim charge at Old Trafford. But Carrick insists it's not about a personal game or gain for either men, it's just a game for him to try and win, he said. That's all then for the latest headlines. A warm welcome along to today's sporting headlines, and we'll start with news in boxing. Mexico's Emmanuel Navarrete stopped compatriot Eduardo Nunes in a dominant display to unify the IBF and WBO super featherweight titles. After outclassing Nunes for much of the contest, Navarrete added the IBF title to his WBO crown when the ringside doctor stepped the action before the 11th round. Navarrete said it's difficult to see your opponent hurting there, but it's very difficult to not continue to win that fight. You never know what might happen in those last rounds. He could catch you with a shot and it could be over. So I had to continue doing my work. Elsewhere in tennis, Daniel Medvedev said it is not how I wanted to win a second Dubai Tennis Championships title after talent Gripspor withdrew from the final because of injury. Gripspor injured his left hamstring during a 7-5, 7-6 semi-final win over Andrei Rublev on Friday. Said he would have retired injured had he lost the second set. The tournament said on Saturday that Gripspor was deemed unfit to play after a medical assessment. Medvedev, who won the title in 2023, has now won the same tournament twice. His previous 22 titles have come at different events. Into Rugby League, and Leeds Rhinos put on a stunning display as they beat Hull KR 58-6 in Las Vegas. Mika Sivo's stunning four-try display helped the Rhinos thrash their opponents. The Fijian wing across twice and then created a third as the Rhinos ran rampant and continued their second half dominance. Darryl Clark marked his 350th Super League appearance with 2 tries in St Helens' thumping victory at Catalan Dragons. Saints run out 36-4 winners in Perpignan, while Wellington Wolves made it 2 wins from 2 games as they beat Wakefield Trinity 27-16 in a second half fight back. In the Rugby Union Prem Cup, defending champions battled the powered local rivals Gloucester to win 38-26 in Pool A. Elsewhere in Rugby Union, and Ospreys beat Ulster 21-10 in the United Rugby Championship, while Alaska's Connaught try helped them beat Glasgow 15-10. In the T20 World Cup, Saibazada Farham made a superb century as Pakistan beat Sri Lanka by 5 runs in the T20 World Cup Super 8, but missed out on a semi-final spot on net run rate. They won by 5 runs after scoring 212 for 8. Into football, Harry Kane scored 2 second-half goals as Bayern Munich came from behind to beat Borussia Dortmund in a thrilling match and move 11 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. They ran out 3-2 winners, with Kane scoring in the 54th and 70th minutes. While in the Premier League, Michael Carrick has the chance to inflict damage on one of the men thought to be a contender for the Manchester United head coach will not be a motivating factor in Sunday's game against Crystal Palace. Oliver Glasner is the second favourite for the permanent role, with Carrick still in interim charge at Old Trafford. But Carrick insists it's not about a personal game or gain for either men, it's just a game for him to try and win, he said. That's all then for the latest headlines. A warm welcome along to today's sporting headlines, and we'll start with news in boxing. Mexico's Manuel Navarrete stops compatriot Eduardo Nunes in a dominant display to unify the IBF and WBO super featherweight titles. After knocking Nunes for much of the contest, Navarrete added the IBF title to his WBO crown when the ringside doctor stepped the action before the 11th round. Navarrete said it's difficult to see your opponent hurting there, but it's very difficult to not continue to win that fight. You never know what might happen in those last rounds. It could catch you with a shot and it could be over. So I had to continue doing my work. Elsewhere in tennis, Daniel Medvedev said it is not how I wanted to win. A second Dubai Tennis Championships title after Talon Griekspoor withdrew from the final because of injury. Griekspoor injured his left hamstring during a 7-5, 7-6 semi-final win over Andrei Rublev on Friday. Said he was retired injured had he lost the second set. The tournament said on Saturday that Griekspoor was deemed unfit to play after a medical assessment. Medvedev, who won the title in 2023, has now won the same tournament twice. His previous 22 titles have come at different events. Into rugby league, and Leeds Rhinos put on a stunning display as they beat Hull KR 58-6 in Las Vegas. Mika Sivo's stunning four-try display helped the Rhinos thrash their opponents. The Fijian winger crossed twice and then created a third as the Rhinos ran rampant and continued their second half dominance. Darrell Clark marked his 350th Super League appearance with 2 tries in St Helens' thumping victory at Catalan Dragons. Saints ran out 36-4 winners in Perpignan, while Wellington Wolves made it 2 wins from 2 games as they beat Wakefield Trinity 27-16 in a second half fight back. In the Rugby Union Prem Cup, defending champions Bath of the powered local rivals Gloucester to win 38-26 in Pool A. Elsewhere in Rugby Union, and Ospreys beat Ulster 21-10 in the United Rugby Championship, while a last gasp Connaught try helped them beat Glasgow 15-10. In the T20 World Cup, Saibazada Farham made a superb century as Pakistan beat Sri Lanka by 5 runs in the T20 World Cup Super 8, but missed out on a semi-final spot on net run rate. They won by 5 runs after scoring 212 for 8. Into football, Harry Kane scored 2 second-half goals as Bayern Munich came from behind to beat Borussia Dortmund in a thrilling match and move 11 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. They ran out 3-2 winners, with Kane scoring in the 54th and 70th minutes. While in the Premier League, Michael Carrick says the chance to inflict damage on one of the men thought to be a contender for the Manchester United head coach will not be a motivating factor in Sunday's game against Crystal Palace. Oliver Glasner is the second favourite for the permanent role, with Carrick still in interim charge at Old Trafford. But Carrick insists it's not about a personal game or gain for either men, it's just a game for him to try and win, he said. That's all then for the latest headlines. A warm welcome along to today's sporting headlines, and we'll start with news in boxing. Mexico's Manuel Navarrete stops compatriot Eduardo Nunes in a dominant display to unify the IBF and WBO super featherweight titles. After knocking Nunes for much of the contest, Navarrete added the IBF title to his WBO crown when the ringside doctor stepped the action before the 11th round. Navarrete said it's difficult to see your opponent hurting there, but it's very difficult to not continue to win that fight. You never know what might happen in those last rounds. It could catch you with a shot and it could be over. So I had to continue doing my work. Elsewhere in tennis, Daniel Medvedev said it is not how I wanted to win. A second Dubai Tennis Championships title after Talon Griekspoor withdrew from the final because of injury. Griekspoor injured his left hamstring during a 7-5, 7-6 semi-final win over Andrei Rublev on Friday. Said he was retired injured had he lost the second set. The tournament said on Saturday that Griekspoor was deemed unfit to play after a medical assessment. Medvedev, who won the title in 2023, has now won the same tournament twice. His previous 22 titles have come at different events. Into rugby league, and Leeds Rhinos put on a stunning display as they beat Hull KR 58-6 in Las Vegas. Mika Sivo's stunning four-try display helped the Rhinos thrash their opponents. The Fijian winger crossed twice and then created a third as the Rhinos ran rampant and continued their second half dominance. Darrell Clark marked his 350th Super League appearance with 2 tries in St Helens' thumping victory at Catalan Dragons. Saints ran out 36-4 winners in Perpignan, while Wellington Wolves made it 2 wins from 2 games as they beat Wakefield Trinity 27-16 in a second half fight back. In the Rugby Union Prem Cup, defending champions Bath of the powered local rivals Gloucester to win 38-26 in Pool A. Elsewhere in Rugby Union, and Ospreys beat Ulster 21-10 in the United Rugby Championship, while a last gasp Connaught try helped them beat Glasgow 15-10. In the T20 World Cup, Sabazada Farham in a superb century as Pakistan beat Sri Lanka by 5 runs in the T20 World Cup Super 8 but missed out on a semi-final spot on net run rate. They won by 5 runs after scoring 212 for 8. Into football, Harry Kane scored 2 second-half goals as Bayern Munich came from behind to beat Borussia Dortmund in a thrilling match and move 11 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. They ran out 3-2 winners with Kane scoring in the 54th and 70th minutes. While in the Premier League, Michael Carrick has the chance to inflict damage on one of the men thought to be a contender for the Manchester United head coach will not be a motivating factor in Sunday's game against Crystal Palace. Oliver Glasgow is the second favourite for the permanent role, with Carrick still in interim charge at Old Trafford. Carrick insists it's not about a personal game or gain for either men, it's just a game for him to try and win, he said. That's all then for the latest headlines. A warm welcome along to today's sporting headlines, and we'll start with news in boxing. Mexico's Manuel Navarrete stops compatriot Eduardo Nunes in a dominant display to unify the IBF and WBO super featherweight titles. After knocking Nunes for much of the contest, Navarrete added the IBF title to his WBO crown when the ringside doctor stepped the action before the 11th round. Navarrete, it's difficult to see your opponent hurting there, but it's very difficult to not continue to win that fight. You never know what might happen in those last rounds. It could catch you with a shot and it could be over. So I had to continue doing my work. Elsewhere in tennis, Daniel Medvedev said it is not how I wanted to win. A second Dubai Tennis Championships title after Talon Griekspoor withdrew from the final because of injury. Griekspoor injured his left hamstring during a 7-5, 7-6 semi-final win over Andrei Rublev on Friday. Said he would have retired injured had he lost the second set. The tournament said on Saturday that Griekspoor was deemed unfit to play after a medical assessment. Medvedev, who won the title in 2023, has now won the same tournament twice. His previous 22 titles have come at different events. Into rugby league, and Leeds Rhinos put on a stunning display as they beat Hull KR 58-6 in Las Vegas. Mika Sivo's stunning 4-try display helped the Rhinos thrash their opponents. The Fijian winger crossed twice and then created a third as the Rhinos ran rampant and continued their second half dominance. Darrell Clark marked his 350th Super League appearance with 2 tries and St Helens' thumping victory at Catalan Dragons. Saints ran out 36-4 winners in Perpignan, while Wellington Wolves made it 2 wins from 2 games as they beat Wakefield Trinity 27-16 in a second half fight back. In the Rugby Union Prem Cup, defending champions Bath of the powered local rivals Gloucester to win 38-26 in Pool A. Elsewhere in Rugby Union, and Ospreys beat Ulster 21-10 in the United Rugby Championship, while a last gasp Connaught try helped them beat Glasgow 15-10. In the T20 World Cup, Sabazada Farham in a superb century as Pakistan beat Sri Lanka by 5 runs in the T20 World Cup Super 8 but missed out on a semi-final spot on net run rate. They won by 5 runs after scoring 212 for 8. Into football, Harry Kane scored 2 second-half goals as Bayern Munich came from behind to beat Borussia Dortmund in a thrilling match and move 11 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. They ran out 3-2 winners with Kane scoring in the 54th and 70th minutes. While in the Premier League, Michael Carrick has the chance to inflict damage on one of the men thought to be a contender for the Manchester United head coach will not be a motivating factor in Sunday's game against Crystal Palace. Oliver Glasgow is the second favourite for the permanent role, with Carrick still in interim charge at Old Trafford. Carrick insists it's not about a personal game or gain for either men, it's just a game for him to try and win, he said. That's all then for the latest headlines. A warm welcome along to today's sporting headlines, and we'll start with news in boxing. Mexico's Manuel Navarrete stops compatriot Eduardo Nunes in a dominant display to unify the IBF and WBO super featherweight titles. After knocking Nunes for much of the contest, Navarrete added the IBF title to his WBO crown when the ringside doctor stepped the action before the 11th round. Navarrete, it's difficult to see your opponent hurting there, but it's very difficult to not continue to win that fight. You never know what might happen in those last rounds. It could catch you with a shot and it could be over. So I had to continue doing my work. Elsewhere in tennis, Daniel Medvedev said it is not how I wanted to win. A second Dubai Tennis Championships title after Talon Griekspoor withdrew from the final because of injury. Griekspoor injured his left hamstring during a 7-5, 7-6 semi-final win over Andrei Rublev on Friday. Said he would have retired injured had he lost the second set. The tournament said on Saturday that Griekspoor was deemed unfit to play after a medical assessment. Medvedev, who won the title in 2023, has now won the same tournament twice. His previous 22 titles have come at different events. Into rugby league, and Leeds Rhinos put on a stunning display as they beat Hull KR 58-6 in Las Vegas. Mika Sivo's stunning 4-try display helped the Rhinos thrash their opponents. The Fijian winger crossed twice and then created a third as the Rhinos ran rampant and continued their second half dominance. Darrell Clark marked his 350th Super League appearance with 2 tries in St Helens' thumping victory at Catalan Dragons. Saints run out 36-4 winners in Perpignan, while Wellington Wolves made it 2 wins from 2 games as they beat Wakefield Trinity 27-16 in a second half fight back. In the Rugby Union Prem Cup, defending champions Bath of the powered local rivals Gloucester to win 38-26 in Pool A. Elsewhere in Rugby Union, and Ospreys beat Ulster 21-10 in the United Rugby Championship, while a last gasp Connaught try helped them beat Glasgow 15-10. In the T20 World Cup, Saibazada Farham in a superb century as Pakistan beat Sri Lanka by 5 runs in the T20 World Cup Super 8, but missed out on a semi-final spot on net run rate. They won by 5 runs after scoring 212 for 8. Into football, Harry Kane scored 2 second-half goals as Bayern Munich came from behind to beat Borussia Dortmund in a thrilling match and move 11 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. They ran out 3-2 winners, with Kane scoring in the 54th and 70th minutes. While in the Premier League, Michael Carrick has the chance to inflict damage on one of the men thought to be a contender for the Manchester United head coach will not be a motivating factor in Sunday's game against Crystal Palace. Oliver Glasner is the second favourite for the permanent role, with Carrick still in interim charge at Old Trafford. Carrick insists it's not about a personal game or gain for either men, it's just a game for him to try and win, he said. That's all then for the latest headlines. A warm welcome along to today's sporting headlines, and we'll start with news in boxing. Mexico's Manuel Navarrete stops compatriot Eduardo Nunes in a dominant display to unify the IBF and WBO super featherweight titles. After knockouting Nunes for much of the contest, Navarrete added the IBF title to his WBO crown when the ringside doctor stepped the action before the 11th round. Navarrete said it's difficult to see your opponent hurting there, but it's very difficult to not continue to win that fight. You never know what might happen in those last rounds. He could catch you with a shot and it could be over. So I had to continue doing my work. Elsewhere in tennis, Daniel Medvedev said it is not how I wanted to win a second Dubai Tennis Championships title after Talon Griekspoor withdrew from the final because of injury. Griekspoor injured his left hamstring during a 7-5, 7-6 semi-final win over Andrei Rublev on Friday. Said he would have retired injured had he lost the second set. The tournament said on Saturday that Griekspoor was deemed unfit to play after a medical assessment. Medvedev, who won the title in 2023, has now won the same tournament twice. His previous 22 titles have come at different events. Into Rugby League, and Leeds Rhinos put on a stunning display as they beat Hull KR 58-6 in Las Vegas. Mika Sivo's stunning 4-try display helped the Rhinos thrash their opponents. The Fijian wing across twice and then created a third as the Rhinos ran rampant and continued their second half dominance. Darrell Clark marked his 350th Super League appearance with 2 tries in St Helens' thumping victory at Catalan Dragons. Saints run out 36-4 winners in Perpignan, while Wellington Wolves made it 2 wins from 2 games as they beat Wakefield Trinity 27-16 in a second half fight back.
Where Varun Chakravarti has not been deployed in the power play, Henry.
So Akshay Patel around the wicket, 2 balls left of this power play. Sweep is attempted, beautifully played over the infield and for 4. Roston Chase is playing a good hand here, I have to say. Moves to 19 from 10. It's 44 without loss with the ball left of this first 6-over flurry. What have you made of it so far? 1 ball left, will be going to the football at the end of the over.
He's clearly grown in confidence, and in this role has Roston Chase, finding the middle of the bat now on 19 of 10.
Akshay Patel, final ball of the power play, will come off the inside half of the bat, dropping towards the onside, not a second run available. And so here on Sports Extra 1, we are going to make a little change. Sports Extra 3, we continue in commentary and staying on as drinks come onto the field, also on the ABC Listen app in Australia, ICC app around the world, and on BBC Sounds. But on Sports Extra, you can now follow some Premier League football. We're going to be heading to the banks of the Thames, Fulham against Spurs in the Premier League, and we can join Andy Rowley and Bradley Allen.
In the midfield, possibly alongside Paulinho, with Randall Kolomoani and Dominic Solanke supported by Xavi Simons up front. All will be revealed as far as that formation is concerned very shortly, but the 2 sets of players just shaking hands on the far side of the field in front of the Riverside stand, that magnificent structure that went up either side of COVID. It's transformed this stadium, Bradley, and I imagine the view from the very top, where our colleague Jamie Reid finds himself, is absolutely magnificent. And what a game we've got in store. Two teams that badly want it for different reasons.
A wonderful setting. I love coming to Craven Cottage because it has a sense of old and new. We look across at that spectacular stand on the banks of the Thames, and there's a sense of anticipation. No surprise really amongst the Fulham fans. They feel that the confidence within their players, the form that they're in, and home advantage, they can get another positive result. And it would be, of course, the first time in over 20 years of a double in the Premier League. I think the last time was 2003-04 season. So that's the challenge for Fulham this afternoon. Tottenham Hotspur coming out of form really, but they need to dig deep and find something for their new manager.
Well, Bradley, the way Tottenham have gone at the moment, they just need something to go their way really, don't they? Just to kind of kick-start things, because that's dreadful to not win a single league game in January and February. I think it's only happened 3 times in their history. We're moving into March now. It can't go on much longer if they're going to change things around.
Well, how valuable confidence is, and just something from today's game will give them a semblance of confidence going into another London derby against Crystal Palace on Thursday evening at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Because if Spurs were not to perform today and not get a good result, Andy, could you imagine the pressure going into that one on Thursday? It would be absolutely enormous.
Looking at what Fulham have done as well, Bradley, it's the latest player to come in. I mean, if you think about Marco Silva bringing them up from the Championship, what they've done, they now seem to have 2 players for every position. Great strength, a lot of quality. Oscar Bobb, I watched him in the game at Stoke in the FA Cup. He was absolutely electric, so the fans are really loving it at the moment.
Yeah, I think if you look at sort of Smith Rowe, Wilson's had a fab season. Bob, big money signing from City. Great to see Sessegnon fit and playing this afternoon. Iwobi, there's players there in 1v1s that have got real skill, guile. They're prepared and have the confidence to try things. So Spurs have got to defend very, very well today.
Bradley Allen, the voice you can hear alongside me, Andy Rowley, as the ball is launched into touch almost immediately from the kick-off. A few people taking cover as it comes into the stand just next to us. And we're off and underway. Fulham pretty much all in white and Tottenham all in black. And Fulham playing towards the Hammersmith end of the ground, towards the Putney end of the ground, I should say, in this first half, with Tottenham towards the Hammersmith end and with their fans behind them, behind their left-back position, as Van der Ven has the ball at the back for Spurs, goes back to Vicario, moving it now to Dragusin, and out to Pedro Porro. He sent it up the right touchline for Bissouma and Kolo Muani to chase. Bassi is across, and the Nigerian international clears that out. Formerly of Rangers, of course, Bradley, who went 2-0 up, but had to settle for a 2-2 draw in the end, as Martin O'Neill produced another late comeback since coming back in at Celtic. And that means advantage Hearts.
Absolutely. What a comeback that was, but a big result in the Scottish SPL. Spurs look, Andy, as if they're sort of a back three. Gray on that left-hand side, he's pushing on a little bit, and Porro with Dragusin and Van der Ven are 3 defenders supporting goalkeeper Vicario here.
Dragusin playing it short to Pedro Porro. His ball up the touchline is blocked by Bob, and it's gone out for a throw into Spurs on their right-hand side. You've had a brief chance to look at the formation, Bradley. What Jim Palina seems to be playing in midfield, but dropping back in at times.
Yeah, he's like a number 6. Simmons, Bissouma, Gallagher are supporting a 2-pronged attack in Muani and Solanke. He's just fouled down Spurs' right-hand side. He's none too happy with the assistant.
But after all we saw, it does look like a 4 across the back for Spurs.
Yeah, you know, there's moving parts to it, isn't it? Yeah. But Gray certainly in possession, pushes on a little bit more from that left side.
The Spurs fans singing champions of Europe. Well, you know what we are, as Fulham win the ball back and then give it away, and Tottenham attacking down the left. It's Simons, good cross, and it's cut out by Sessegnon just in time against his old club. And Spurs continue their attack on the left-hand side. Archie Gray is well forward down that touchline, but Bassi comes over, wins the ball back, and Fulham can break up the left with that man Sessegnon. He's got Bob racing forward ahead of him, but he just checks and plays it back to Bassi in the heart of the Fulham defence. So Fulham lining up with Leno, the captain, in goal. Tete, Diop, Bassi and Sessegnon, the back four. Diop coming in for Anderson, who is ill. A midfield of Berger, Iwobi and Smith Rowe, and then Wilson and Bob are either side of Raul Jimenez up top. Now Bassi on the ball, midway inside the Spurs half of the field, gets it out to Sessegnon in the bright blue boots. Bassi again, going short to Sander Berger, the Norwegian, helping it on to Issa Diop. Fulham just enjoying a bit of possession in the what is a breezy but not too chilly first day of March. A little shove there from Dragusin, and he's knocked Jimenez off his feet. That will be a free kick to Fulham. Spurs have Guillermo Vicario in goal, a back four of Pedro Porro, Radu Dragusin, Mickey van der Ven, the captain, and Archie Gray. That means that Palinha is in the midfield with Gallagher and Bissouma, and then Simons is supporting Kolomoani and Solanke up front. Slightly different formation to the one they employed against Arsenal.
Yeah, they're falling back into a sort of a 4-4-2 out of possession, Spurs, but free kick here. Jimenez in the programme notes saying about his excitement, looking forward to the World Cup in the USA and Mexico in the summer. He was fouled by Dragusin through the back of the Fulham striker. Wilson to take this free kick from a fairly central position.
He's still hoping he'll go as well, Wilson. He's floating it into the box. Diop's going to get there, headed across the 6-yard box and then hooked away clear, possibly by Van der Ven. Pedro Porro tries to complete the clearance, finds Xavi Simons, then he sends it forward. Kolomoani was offside, but Solanke wasn't. He's chasing this down. It's helped back to his goalkeeper by the defender Iwobi, who got back there. Welcome to our listeners on 5 Sports Extra. They're listening to BBC Radio London, and our commentary team here, Bradley Allen and myself, Andy Rowley, delighted to have you with us wherever you're tuning in from. Whether it's on the BBC Sport website, 5 Sports Extra, or BBC Radio London.
Yeah, Gallagher on this near touchline under pressure there. Sessegnon played the ball long. Porro headed it down. Gallagher did well to pick up the second ball, but he opted to play backwards and he's got straight off the pitch beyond the byline. First corner of the game, Fulham to take on this left.
Iwobi is going to come forward to take it by the looks of things, although Wilson is very close by for a short corner opportunity. You don't actually often see this. They're almost shaping up to possibly have the right or left option like they would on a free kick in and around the penalty area. Wilson leaves it for Iwobi to take. In it comes, headed away at the back by Archie Gray, and Sessegnon will go back to his goalkeeper, and we're hearing there's been a goal early on in the game up at Old Trafford. Manchester United against Crystal Palace. Ross Heaton.
And it's gone to Palace. They lead 1-0. Maxence Lacroix with a brilliant header from a corner. It was floated to him. He strong-armed his man inside the box, headed it back where it came into that far corner. Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 1.
Ball chipped into the box. Jimenez leaping for it here. Bob gets it back across. Wilson! Harry Wilson scores for Fulham. And they have the lead early here against Tottenham. It was a ball that was knocked back across, and Wilson, as it dropped onto that trusty left foot of his, there was never any doubt that he was going to rifle that home for his 10th goal of the season. It's Fulham 1, Tottenham 0.
Well, it's a quality left-footed volley finish from the man in form who's had a fab season, Harry Wilson. But Van der Ven and the Spurs players are surrounding the referee, Thomas Bramwell. They felt that there was a push somewhere in that, whether this is going to be checked. But it went across diagonally. Bob Anselmi volleyed it across. There was Wilson inside the 6-yard box to clinically finish. It may well be checked, this one. Stunning finish from Harry Wilson. Maybe Jimenez on Dragusin. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure Dragusin's going to clear that anyway, is he? It's pretty high.
It was Jimenez's challenge, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's just
on the Spurs number 3.
Dragusin's back, but it's a question of whether that would go down as normal competing for the ball. They are checking it at the moment.
There's a left arm, isn't there?
Wilson lashing it past.
Beautiful goal, wasn't it?
Cario, brilliant connection on the volley.
Lovely balance, let the ball fall, volleyed in, super finish. But we've got to wait. Igor Tudor.
Well, he's
pretty adamant,
demonstrating that there was a push to the fourth official. Jimenez going up for it. There's no doubt that he has made contact.
Moani had one like that against Gabriel, I think, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the North London derby, and the goal was disallowed at 3-1.
Is it enough that little shove? The goal stands. Tottenham can say that there was contact, but the referee, or the VAR in this case, have decided that there was not enough.
Well, the Tottenham head coach is not happy with the fourth official. He feels that that's a clear and obvious error, but it's the Fulham fans that you can hear. They're in front in this London derby. Harry Wilson, the scorer.
Fulham, who've won their last two at home against Spurs by an aggregate of 5-0, are ahead again. They've won 3 of their last 4 against Spurs, and would not have come into this game with the kind of trepidation you would have expected a few years ago in this fixture, which Tottenham used to win with such regularity. Ball's gone all the way back to the Fulham goalkeeper, Bernd Leno. The German plays it out towards the right touchline. Tete attempting to clear it a bit further forward. Jimenez tries to lay it off. Tottenham getting in each other's way as they try and win possession back, and it's out to Oscar Bob on the left-hand side. He's got Sessegnon on the overlap. Here he comes. Sessegnon's cross. Cut out by Dragusin, who puts it behind for a Fulham corner.
If Spurs are not careful, this is going to be game over. A sweeping attack from the team in white across the Bob. Wonderful sprint and overlap from Sessegnon, and he's tried a hard and low cross. Credit to Dragusin and his near post defending there to clear the lines. Another Fulham corner. They're really lifted by that early goal.
Less than 10 minutes gone. Fulham leading 1-0 thanks to Wilson's goal. And another of these corners to come from the left. Again, Wilson almost dropping the flag to get them underway with the corner. Iwobi sent it in, and it's Bassey going up for it.
Yeah,
get meaningful connection on that.
It was off of the former Leicester man.
Goal kick
at the far post. Spurs just need to 10 minutes on the clock, settle, find a little bit of rhythm here and possession, because Fulham are really good, don't they? Very confident with that start.
Sessegnon and Bob down this left-hand side, they looked such a threat there when they were coming forward. Tottenham building from the back, but under pressure from the press from Fulham. They clip it forward beyond Bassey. That'll be dealt with by Leno in front of the Hammersmith end, and he bowls it out to Bassey. Centre ball forward for Jimenez, who, as you mentioned, Bradley, has got a great record. I think this will be his 4th World Cup with Mexico, which is astonishing, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Terrific international service, that. But Fulham are absolutely swarming over Spurs, aren't they? They look sharp, they're about their business.
That's given away, though, by Berger, and here go Tottenham. This is exactly why they picked these 3, to try and capitalise on moments like this. Xavi Simons didn't get the pass away. Now he tries to play it forward off the outside of his boot, but doesn't find Kolo Muani. And Fulham survived that moment. That's the last thing that Marco Silva wants, is Berger to give the ball away in that kind of position with the front 3 Tottenham have selected today, but they get away with it on that occasion. Simons just delayed his pass. There's been a clash of heads there on the halfway line. Dragusin is down for Tottenham. Jimenez, I think,
yeah, he's just a little bit sharper to the ball, and there's a head collision. And Jimenez as well, you know, you think of the situation and challenge that when he played in a Wolves shirt, just a fraction late there, Dragusin, but both were honest, jumping in determined fashion to win the touch and get first to the ball there.
He's had a tremendous season, Jimenez, not just, you know, the goals that he provides, but really the amount he's put into it at the age he is, with all that's going on with Mexico as well, and their home World Cup. With Muniz out injured, he had to shoulder so much of the burden.
Very much so. But, you know, he is a key player, like you mentioned, the focal point of this attack. It gives Fulham the option to sort of play a little bit more direct. He can take the ball in under sort of pressure against the big centre-halves that you play against in the Premier League. He's got a deft touch, he flicks the ball on, and he's brilliant at attacking crosses in and around the penalty box.
I'm just speculating that we might be seeing a tiny bit of sunshine, which we didn't really see anything of in the first 2 months of the year.
No, a bit chilly here on the banks of the Thames, but the sun is now gloriously out, and as he mentioned at the top of the game, it's a stunning setting here, and we're blessed, really, aren't we, to come and watch our football on this Sunday afternoon.
Certainly are.
Great occasion.
BBC Radio London and BBC 5 Sports Extra, as well as BBC Sport Online, live here at Craven Cottage for Fulham against Spurs. Fulham leading thanks to Harry Wilson's goal. Talking of excellent seasons, he's out of contract at the end of this season, and there will be many suitors for his services, you would imagine. Brighton are leading against Nottingham Forest by a 1-0. Diogo Gomez getting the opener in that game in the 6th minute. And as you've heard, Palace are in the lead at Old Trafford. Maxence Lacroix scoring again for the Eagles, having helped them through to the last 16 of the Europa Conference League. And they'll be up against Larnaca of Cyprus later on this afternoon. Arsenal against Chelsea, a 4:30 kick-off in that one, and it finished 2-2 between Rangers and Celtic in the Old Firm derby after Rangers took a 2-0 lead thanks to 2 goals from Youssef Chamiti, Kieran Tierney, former Arsenal defender, and Reo Etati scoring for Celtic. And it's 1-1 now between Brighton and Forest on the south coast, so a lot of West Ham fans down this way will be keeping a very close eye on that scoreline, and wouldn't have wanted to hear that news about a Forest goal going in. Tottenham being put under pressure as they bring the ball into the midway point in the Fulham half, but dispossessed, but quickly regain it. Dragusin on the ball now, gives it to Paulinho. Back against his former club, Bradley, who he played for with distinction. They loved him here.
Yeah, in what's been a really tough season for Spurs. The man on loan from Bayern Munich has been one of the better performers, you'd have to say, with his enforcing qualities, but he was definitely a fan favourite. Good move from Spurs down to the right.
Solanke getting the ball back across, headed away from around the penalty spot. It's going to be hit from distance by that man, Paulinho. Thought he dragged it wide, but it's actually taken a deflection. It will be a corner to Spurs.
Yeah, he supported the play, anticipated the headed clearance, second ball towards the edge of the Fulham box, and with the volleyed attempt, it took a faint touch on its way through to deflect out. Xavi Simons on Spurs' left will deliver this set play.
So across goes Simons. He's going to spot this one up. Right, and they've just taken the lead again, thanks to Danny Welbeck against Forest. I say West Ham fans to keep an eye on it. Tottenham maybe just looking at it as well. Here comes the ball in from the corner, headed away only as far as the edge of the box, and Pedro Porro has sliced it on the half volley from just on the edge of the penalty area, and it's gone wide off the outside of his left boot.
Oh, that's a good chance. I think if he just gets to the pitch of the ball when it was headed away from Jimenez, he's got good technique on the volley. Porro gets over the top of the ball, hits it into the turf. Maybe that could have, against the run of play, been, you know, a swift equalising goal. 6 minutes since Fulham took the lead.
16 minutes gone. Fulham 1, Tottenham 0. As Leno plays it out from the back to the tall figure of Issa Diop, the former West Ham defender, sends it miles forward towards Raul Jimenez. He's trying to play a 1-2 with Harry Wilson. He backheels it into a defender, comes off Paulinho, in fact, and it's gone out.
Good serve, though. You know, Spurs sort of pressed the left side of the pitch, but Fulham played over. And I mentioned about Jimenez, you know, he did terrific there, support from Wilson, and it just sort of played over the trap that Spurs had set.
That goal from Harry Wilson's only the second goal they've scored in a first half in their last 8 games, Fulham. The other one was an own goal by Everton. They're generally stronger finishers. Scored a hatful in the second half of games, but not the quickest starters. But they've got off to a great start today as the ball goes out for a throw into Fulham. Kenny Tete will take it. Keep seeing advertisements for that last 16 tie in the FA Cup, Bradley, against Southampton. It's another game to really look forward to for Fulham fans. I think it's a Sunday midday kickoff for that one, as they look at to make it through to the quarterfinals. And it's interesting to think back to that quarterfinal against Palace. They started well that game, and you know, it could have, a lot of Fulham fans will think, had we got through that, who knows, having never won it before, of course, just like Palace. Ball is back to Iwobi, just outside the penalty area, chips the ball towards the far post. Wilson chests it down, hooks it back on the byline, headed away by Van der Ven, not far enough. Smith Rowe trying to get it to Tete. His shot is dragged just wide on the left foot, and it'll be a goal kick to Spurs.
Yeah, Harry Wilson corrects him round the back on that right-hand side when the cross come from the left. He kept it back alive. It was sort of bobbling around, wasn't it, inside the Spurs penalty box, and eventually the supporting fullback Tete sort of scuffed his shot a little bit and dragged it wide of the post. If that had been on target, that'd have been a certain second.
When Tottenham are in possession, rather, Gallagher's coming out to the right-hand side. Simon's out to the left. Solanke's kind of dropping off. It's an interesting fluid formation Igor Tudor's going for when they are in possession, but they haven't managed to get much fluidity to it so far. They've got a throw-in on the right at the moment, midway inside the Fulham half of the field have Spurs. It's Pedro Porro, that's short of finding Kolo Muani, intercepted by Iwobi. He's nutmegged Paulinho there, gets it to Raul Jimenez, and then it's gone back by Xavi Simons, going back towards his own penalty area. Bissouma caught in possession by Jimenez, then Oscar Bob trying to thread it to Iwobi, but there's a free kick to Spurs.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the other one maybe on Porro further up the pitch a minute ago. Porro's just sort of picked himself up rather gingerly, but Tottenham would be grateful for the respite. Just need to find, like you say, you're right, Andy, just some control here and a bit of possession, because Fulham are playing in such a confident fashion.
Later on this afternoon, Arsenal against Chelsea. The leaders looking to respond after the victory for Manchester City against Leeds yesterday. Well, that build-up to that game at half-time. Here from both managers and our reporter at the Emirates, as Pedro Porro comes forward down the right. It's a good first touch by Solanke, then has to get it out from under his feet at the second touch. Now in comes the cross from Pedro Porro, and it's gone to Kolo Muani. His touch lets him down, and it's out for a goal kick to Fulham. 20 minutes gone.
Yeah,
Fulham
fast cross from Spurs' right hand side. He sort of got flicked, and he was outside the frame of the post there, Muani, in his first touch. Wasn't quite of the required quality, and Leno will take his time on the restart. Fulham goal kick.
Well, they were streaming through the park and along the Putney Bridge on the way here earlier today. Really great scene when you see the fans approaching the ground for a London derby here at Craven Cottage. As Jimenez scrambling to try and hold on to possession there. Solanke's got it off him. He's worked his way into the penalty area. Shot is blocked. Comes to Xavi Simons. He's set it for Bissouma. Back to Solanke. Smith Rowe ratting around trying to win that ball back, but it's still in Tottenham's possession. And Van der Ven will play it forward down the left to Simons. Simons off the outside of his boot to Bissouma. He's kind of getting a second chance with Spurs. It looked like he might be on his
better.
way.
Just a sort of a bit more intent here from Tottenham Hotspur. The ball's going into Solanke in and around the Fulham penalty box a bit more freely.
Gallagher tackled on the touchline. Sessegnon has won his team a throw-in as it flicks off the shin of Gallagher, and it will be a throw-in to Fulham. Almost midway inside the Fulham half of the field. 1-0 Fulham lead here at Craven Cottage. Fulham coming into the game in 10th place in the Premier League, but still very much with a potential European push in mind. Tottenham very much with other thoughts in mind. 16th in the table, 29 points, and without a league win in this calendar year. Much work to be done for them, and a huge game on Thursday coming up at home against Crystal Palace, which will be live with BBC Radio London this Thursday evening, same night as the London Football Awards, Bradley. which always interesting to see how they play out. There's some great candidates for London Manager of the Year, I would say that, for starters. If you think of how well Andy Woodman's doing.
Yeah, he would be my vote. Quite brilliant, really.
But then you've got the likes of Alex Neil and Keith Andrews, Mikel Arteta. It's a hard category, that one, I would say.
That's going to be a good watch, that.
Ball is with Smith Rowe. Former Arsenal player will certainly just have a little extra incentive today, I think, along with the likes of Alex Iwobi and Bernd Leno. Sessegnon back to Bassi. Bassi playing it square in front of Issa Diop. Out to the right they go. Tete just drawing Palinha, his former teammate, a bit closer to him. Now it's with Wilson, who's dropped deep to knit the play together here for Fulham. His former club Liverpool beating West Ham by 5-2 yesterday. Iwobi back to Diop. Archie Gray pressing very high up the pitch as it's clipped forward by Wilson, looking for Oscar Bob. So over the head of the Norwegian. He tries to latch onto the loose ball. Dragusin should get there first, and then he hooks it miles forward. Leno's just got to watch that carefully in case there's a dodgy bounce.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a breeze, isn't there, inside the stadium? He just fly out the clearance. It's actually on target. All of 60 yards, he booted it down the pitch, Dragusin. But there's a clear idea and confidence in what Fulham are doing as and when they build in possession through the middle of the pitch or over. And they've got a goalkeeper that's very efficient with his feet as well. He serves a really nice pass, doesn't he, Leno?
He certainly does. Great signing, I think, for Fulham. Had some good keepers down this way, haven't they? Edwin van der Sar, before he went to Manchester United, was one of the best. Here's Kolomoani driving into the penalty area. It's a superb tackle from Issa Diop, perfectly timed, just as Kolomoani was pulling the trigger. Now Fulham trying to break forward Sessegnon's pass. If it had been a little better for Oscar Bob.
He was fully committed, wasn't he? Half space run, accelerated onto it, and Moani, one thought in his mind from our commentary position, we were right behind it, and he just flew across and slid in as the striker went to hit the ball. Good last-ditch challenge there from Diop to the rescue.
Bradley Allen alongside me, Andy Rowley, live here at Craven Cottage, where it's Fulham 1, Tottenham 0. Harry Wilson's 10th goal of the season, separating the sides. We're listening to us on BBC Radio London, BBC 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sport Online. As the ball goes all the way through on a Tottenham attack and out for a goal kick to Fulham. Leno spots it up. And those Tottenham fans still giving great support despite the season they're having.
Yeah, they would have travelled, of course, with ticket allocation in number from north to West Underley this afternoon, and they're trying to sort of get behind their side. This is not done just yet, but you feel if Spurs are going to get something, they probably need to get back level, don't they, before that half-time whistle.
Harry Wilson, who scored, of course, that incredible goal in the game up at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium earlier in the season, where Vicario went walkabout, Bradley, and Wilson just played it in from the touchline. He's got another one today. And I get the feeling, Bradley, at this stage of his career, he could play for any squad in the league. In terms of any team would be happy to have Wilson in their squad, such as his quality.
On a free, out of contract, of course, come the summer. I think he'll have a good few takers, especially if his season continues, because he's been outstanding.
I spoke to him a few weeks back, and of course those playoffs for the World Cup are coming up as well, and he's got that very much in his mind as well.
For his country,
potentially a couple of games there to make it to the big show in the summer. Wilson on the ball just inside his own half, plays it back to Diop. Now Berger, former Burnley midfielder, plays it to Bob. Now it's with Bassi. Smith Rowe Sessegnon back to Bassi. Really neat, quick passing from Fulham. Then a great run by Wilson. He's actually collided with Gray as he was chasing that ball, and he was just checking where Gray was. He was trying to shield it back to his goalkeeper, and it's back to Vicario for Spurs. 1-0 Fulham lead here at Craven Cottage against Tottenham. Let's find out the latest in the match at Old Trafford between Manchester United and Crystal Palace with Ross Heaton.
Palace remain 1-0 in front, and it is thoroughly deserved. That goal early on from Lacroix from the corner, just the start of a really positive display. They've dominated large spells of the game, had multiple chances as well, stung the gloves of the goalkeeper Lomans a few moments after the goal had gone in. They almost played themselves into a bit of problems here, but it's been composed. They've caused real problems with the shape here for Manchester United, and they've dominated the early exchanges. Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 1.
What a scoreline that is, and you can listen to that game live on the BBC Sport website right now. Earlier on it finished 2-2 in the Old Firm derby. Rangers 2-0 up, Celtic drawing 2-2 after a 91st minute goal, and it all means that Hearts are 6 points clear of Rangers in second at the top, and Celtic further 2 points back, but with a game in hand on both their rivals. Ball is out on the left touchline. Spurs battling to keep it in with Kolo Muani, but Bassi just hounding him all the way, and it's out for a throw into Fulham.
Yeah, ball in behind. Done that a few times, Spurs, but Bassi from his left centre-half position was all the way across to Fulham's right on the cover, 1v1, used the touchline as his friend, challenged Muani, and the Spurs striker had the final touch, Tete to take the Fulham throw-in. Excellent defending.
Basuma touching it down for Paulinho, and then it's gone out for a throw-in to Spurs on the left-hand side. Tete thought it might be theirs, but it's gone Tottenham's way, and Archie Gray will take it. What an extraordinary first couple of years at Tottenham for him, having been in the Championship Team of the Year in his final season at Leeds. Bradley, he's won a European trophy, but he's been called upon possibly more than he even expected, but also had a couple of league campaigns that have been very, very tricky.
Absolutely. You know, a penny for his thoughts, and you know, the development that he's gone through in a Tottenham shirt, and the versatility that he's shown. Lovely flick from Jimenez. Fulham can't quite get onto it. Porro on the cover there.
Well, another player we should mention, Bradley, a player you know very well, Mikey Moore, up in that Old Firm derby. What a season he's been involved in.
Yeah, he scored last time out, didn't he, in that same fixture. Got to play one another again pretty quickly next week in the Cup, but the experience that young Mikey would gain in those particular fixtures, brilliant for one so young.
A player that Bradley's been involved with coaching at Tottenham Hotspur, and a player with a very, very bright future, playing in a cauldron. It's no doubt do him great good for the future. Solanke controls the ball, gets it back to Pedro Porro, swept across the pitch by Pedro Porro. It was actually quite a dangerous pass, that one, but it was in between the Fulham players who were there in attack, and so Spurs can bring it forward through Mickey van der Ven. Simons back to Dragusin, now Porro. He's going to clip a ball forward, looking for Kolo Muani. Diop cushions the header down to Bassi. He's caught as he's trying to bring the ball out of defence. Didn't look like that much contact, but
it's hard working, it's willing from Muani. He's got his head in his hands, he thinks it's clumsy, he's having a bit of a moan to the referee. Bassi, quite clever, got the referee to baulk that one, the bit of contact. But the problem for Spurs, a little bit of what we've seen, Andy, is apart from really Porro getting forward sometimes on the right hand side, their actual creativity from wide positions where they're not playing with no natural wingers, I think they're suffering from that somewhat.
Ball is launched forward upfield by Fulham. Jimenez tries to lay it off to Emil Smith-Rowe. Now all the way back to his goalkeeper by Sander Berger. 31 minutes on the clock. Fulham 1, Tottenham 0. Here at Craven Cottage. Bassi back to his goalkeeper. You have to think how far Fulham have come since promotion, where now they look like a really good bet for a top 10 finish every season. way they're playing with such confidence, and also a team that now are very much targeting the domestic cups as well, given how regularly they're getting to latter stages in those 2 cup competitions. Here's Smith Rowe thinking it forward off the outside of the boot. Sessegnon, his cross looks a little too deep. It has gone over the head of Tete, and it's out for a throw-in on the far side of the field.
It took a deflection on its way through. He might have done better there, Sessegnon. It was a lovely move from Fulham, diagonally across the pitch, right to left. Sessegnon on the overlap. Fulham throwing on that right-hand side. They're locking Spurs in here.
It's forward by Fulham. Jimenez can't hold on to it. It's cleared away by Tottenham, but it'll come back again because Fulham are pushing Spurs back here. Wilson laying the ball off. There's a shot from distance. It's an absolutely stunning finish from Alex Iwobi. He's found the bottom corner unerringly with a superb finish. The former Arsenal player has put Fulham 2 up here against Tottenham. Fulham 2, Tottenham 0.
Yeah, Iwobi's looked really bright right from the kickoff, and from that throw-in they worked the ball. It was played in by Iwobi, soft set, and he just took a chance. He almost passed the ball. It's long range, possibly Vicario slightly unsighted, but it skips across the turf, kissed off the left post, the inside of it, and in for a second. Wonderful goal. Fulham 2 up.
It's an amazing finish, isn't it? He's just passed it.
Yeah, and it just...
in off the post.
It just cannoned off his foot, didn't it? He opened up. Wilson's layoff, Iwobi's effort. He was at full stretch, Vicario, down to his right, but he couldn't get a fingertip on it. And it's in off the post and in for a Fulham second.
And now it's such a long way back, isn't it, for Spurs? The way they're playing, the way Fulham are playing, it's going to be very difficult now.
Well, what do Spurs do here? They've got to firstly navigate through to half-time without conceding any more, but they're going to have to show will in and throw caution to the wind, and with the attacking array of talent that Fulham have got on the pitch, and how informed some of their players are, they'd be licking their lips going into the second.
Gallagher looking for a free kick there, got a nudge in the back from Bassi, but not given, and it will be a goal kick to Fulham. Just looking at the smiles and the laughter from the Fulham players in the celebrations as well, Bradley. That's the kind of freedom they're playing with at the moment.
Absolutely. They just can't wait to step onto a football pitch, represent their side, and play with such amazing confidence. And I think we've seen that in a good few moments. The noise of the crowd. It's a really progressive football club currently, isn't it?
Well, it's very tight in the middle of the table in the Premier League, but Fulham, the way they're playing at the moment, will really fancy staying in that top 10 and maybe having one of their best ever finishes in the top flight. Pedro Porro thinking the ball in field to Gallagher. He's moving forward again. Pedro Porro tries to thread it through to Randall Kolomoani. He's been shrugged off it by Bassi, but then Bassi's got 2 of them on him. Pedro Porro wins it back, gets it to Kolomoani into the penalty area. They're a bit wary of making a challenge. It's set for Basuma, and his shot deflects wide. It's going to be a corner to Tottenham.
Yeah, like Palinja 15 minutes ago. An edge of the box chance when it broke off the rebound to Basuma. He had a touch, right foot volley. A Fulham defender sort of got in the way of it. It was blocked on its way through and out for a Spurs corner.
So across comes Xavi Simons to take this corner from the right-hand side. Spurs desperate for a quick reaction here. It's taken short to Gallagher. Back to Pedro Porro, swings it in low. It's going to be cleared away by Berger. And it's all the way back to the goalkeeper, Vicario. Forward it comes again. Jimenez just trying a deft header back to his goalkeeper. He's asked a bit much of Leno there. Yeah. He had to be wary of leaving
he's acknowledged his mistake. Tried to be a little bit clever there, really, Jimenez. Should have just headed it away to safety.
The thing was, Leno couldn't leave his goal untended in case Jimenez got his header wrong, and the header was quite wide of the goal. and he couldn't scramble across quickly enough to catch it, and it's out for a Tottenham corner, which Simons will take from the left-hand side. 8 minutes to go plus stoppage time in this first half. Fulham leading Spurs 2-0. Simons, one hand in the air, floats in the corner. So clipped goalwards by Dragusin. He's underneath his volley.
Oh, what a chance.
And it's over the bar.
He knows. It was his weaker left foot, and it just dropped to him 7 yards out. Poor marking from Fulham defensively, and Dragusin just swung his left boot at it, and he's put the ball high over the crossbar. Should have controlled that and got that on the target, really.
I don't know if Solanke was jumping just in front of him, whether he saw
maybe
it a bit
got
late.
put off
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got a decent connection on it, but it went high up and over the bar. He's now trying to head it away under pressure from Jimenez. Pedro Porro back in the team today, clips it forward, looking for Kolomoani. Solanke battling for the ball with Iwobi, the scorer of the second goal for Fulham. Now Solanke drifting across the pitch, plays it up the line for Pedro Porro. In comes an early cross. It's a devilish delivery, actually. Gray, Simons attacking that. Tete did just enough to get the ball away, but it's another corner to Spurs.
Yeah, I said about Porro advancing on Spurs' right-hand side, and maybe a delivery from him is Spurs' best avenue and route back into this game. Fine cross, swirled in the wind, difficult for Tete, round on the cover, and he's just sort of skimmed it away. It was Archie Gray actually that was coming in at the far post.
Simons, they're all queuing up at the back post for this one. Here it now comes. Simons floating it in, punched away by Leno. Got really good distance on that. Comes out to Gallagher. He's going to sweep it back out to Simons on the left touchline. Netherlands international holds onto the ball, then dinks it down the touchline. In comes a cross for Spurs. It's Dragusin trying to get to it. Sessegnon heads it down into a dangerous position. Kolomoani's shot deflected, and then Palinha's also blocked by Bassi. It's out for a throw to Spurs.
Yeah, the crosses from Spurs and the set plays are just sort of giving them a glimmer of hope here, and they're not really clearing their penalty box convincingly. The Fulham defenders. Dragusin is going to launch a long throw in here from Spurs' right-hand side of the pitch.
Here it comes from Dragusin. Sent into the penalty area. Flicked away by Fulham, not completely cleared though. Solanke sets it for Pedro Porro. He kind of fires a ball across the penalty area. Van der Ven gets a touch on it, but he's glanced it wide.
Just snatched it, Porro, didn't he? Again, not cleared by Fulham. Van der Ven was up in attack, but he's just come at him from the scuffed effort from Porro way too quickly for him to control and finish. Fulham goal kick.
2-0 to Fulham as Tottenham's 2026 continues to be one to forget in the league. Archie Gray in a bit of trouble here, almost got his pocket picked by two Fulham players. Smith Rowe and Wilson were both on him, but they do get the ball away upfield, Tottenham in the end. Solanke though is harried off the ball. It's forward to Wilson. Palinha comes across and as Fulham fans know so well, makes a good tackle, and it's out for a throw in to Fulham, far side of the field.
I think he'll be greedy here, Marco Silva, won't he? He won't rest on his laurels. He will want his side to sort of push and really drive home the advantage that they've now got. 2 up and a third, if possible, with one late chance at the end of this first half.
Ball is back from Issa Diop all the way to his goalkeeper Leno. And Bassi out to Sessegnon on the left. His ball forward is headed by Bissouma. Kolomoani down to Solanke, out to Pedro Porro. He tries to find Gallagher down this right-hand side. Slightly different position for Gallagher today than you usually see him in. And he's struggling a bit to get into the game in the way he sometimes dominates games, Bradley.
Yeah, not really had an influence so far. But Fulham taking a bit of a risk. Short passes at the back. Spurs are sort of going man for man, but there's cleverness, and the 1 and 2 touch football is lovely from Fulham.
Tottenham won 7 consecutive away games here in the league between 2010 and 2023. lost those last two, and they're trailing in this one by 2-0. Iwobi robbed of the possession there by Gallagher. The referee says it was a foul on Iwobi.
Not sure.
No.
Thought the first touch got away from the former Arsenal man a little bit there. Generous decision by the ref. Fulham free kick.
Fulham were 3 points off 7th coming into this round of fixtures. That gap moved to 6 points rather, to 7th with Brentford's win against Burnley in that crazy game up at Turf Moor yesterday. As things stand, they are minding the gap and will remain 3 points behind Brentford. And that what looks at the moment like it'll be the Europa Conference League spot. Ball is booted upfield by Vicario.
West Ham at home here on Wednesday. Another big London derby, that one, isn't it?
Another
both
one
ends of the table.
Interest, yeah. Here's Iwobi in between the lines for Fulham, laying it off to Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe playing it out to the right-hand side to Tete. They had players forward on the left in Sessegnon and Bob, but they decided to go the other way. Here's Iwobi again, right in the heart of the midfield. Plays it out to the left to Sessegnon. Sessegnon just slows it down a little bit, gets it back to Bassi. Good cross in, almost spelt by Vicario. Jimenez was running in on that. He's just snatched it at the second attempt.
Yeah, soft set, Bassi up in support. We were right behind that. He whipped it in low, curl. And at the second attempt, when he died just outside his 6-yard line there, Vicario's managed to smother the ball.
The other factor with what we were talking about earlier with Marco Silva's future, Bradley, is that if he was to leave, he'd be leaving a team that has been set up so well now. It's really purring, isn't it? He's done all that hard work to build this team.
He's got a terrific balance to it, isn't it? He can play different formations. He's tactically astute. They can have spells of momentum in possession and connect seamlessly, and they can defend with sort of resilience and determination, and that's why, you know, the league table this stage of the season, and he does not lie.
Smith Rowe battling hard to get to that ball ahead of Gallagher, manages it, gets it to Sessegnon. Now back to Sessegnon again from Smith Rowe. His left-footed cross cut out by Porro, but it will be a corner to Fulham.
Yeah, he's just missed a few crosses, hasn't he, Sessegnon? Not for the want of trying, pushing forward, using athleticism, just not managed to pick out well enough. But another former Fulham corner here, 45 minutes on the clock. Iwobi Wilson standing near the ball.
4 minutes of additional time at the end of this first half. Fulham winning 3 of the last 4 in the Premier League against Spurs. It's as many as their previous 26 before that run. It's really turned around. Here's a corner. Van der Ven gets ahead to it. Back across from Bob. And then Bassi has hooked it over the bar. That really should have been 3-0.
Oh, what a chance. Vicario's pleading to the referee that he was checked, blocked inside the 6-yard box. Bob at the far post scuffed it. It was on the 6-yard line. Bassi up in attack, and he just sort of swiped at it, completely miskicked his right foot, weaker side volley. He's put the ball high over the crossbar, nearly over the stand actually. What a miss that was.
What a chance as well. Berger's gone down, challenging for a ball up in the air. We're into the second minute of the 4 to be added at the end of this first half, with Fulham coming close to taking a 3-0 lead at half-time. You'd say it would look quite unassailable, but we saw just yesterday that Brentford were 3-0 up and it almost turned around completely. Brighton are 2-1 up against Forest as they approach half-time down there at the Amex. Diego Gomez and Danny Welbeck scoring for Brighton, with Morgan Gibbs-White getting one back for Forest in between those 2 goals. And Palace still 1-0 up at Old Trafford against Manchester United. Maxence Lacroix. Fulham winning the ball back, and now they play it forward to Smith Rowe, just inside the Spurs penalty area. Back to Iwobi, just outside the box. He plays it in front of Tete, who just didn't anticipate that pass, but he's worked well to get it back to Iwobi. Chipped into the box, up in the air it goes off Palinha, and caught by Vicario under pressure from Jimenez.
Smelling blood here,
they look dangerous every time they
do.
regain it, don't they? The cleverness, the interchange, the movement.
The cleverness, the interchange, the movement. He just, you know, the movement, you know, the cleverness, the interchange, the movement. He just, you know, the cleverness, the interchange, the movement. it's really exciting to watch, and you know the Fulham fans, the Fulham faithful, they know that they're really enjoying this performance.
BBC Radio London, BBC 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sport Online live here at Craven Cottage, where Fulham deserve their 2-0 lead, playing with real confidence and passion as two Fulham fans fall on the ground trying to get that ball back and then hoof it back onto the field of play.
It come at such force, didn't it, from the offside challenge on Solanke, and
fell down the stairs.
The two of them fell down the stairwell, didn't they?
I think they've had a good Sunday lunch, Bradley, maybe, over there in the posh seats. It was a bit unseemly, wasn't it?
Oh, good fun. Enjoyed that.
Oh, I hope that was caught on camera. That'll be one for them to treasure. The two of them sliding around trying to get their hands on the ball there, to much hilarity. Just up from Marco Silva's position on the touchline in front of his dugout. And we have got 1 minute to go of this first half stoppage time, as it's sent forward towards Jimenez and Bob. Jimenez probably would have wanted to take that header himself. Bob took it and didn't get the header quite right. It's gone out for a throw into Spurs. Midway inside their own half, Pedro Porro will take it. Half-time, we'll look ahead to Arsenal-Chelsea, which is coming up at 4:30, as well as bring you up to speed with just how well Palace has done in that first half up at Old Trafford. They just keep defying the odds at Crystal Palace over the last couple of seasons. Every time people think they're down, they prove the opposite. So that's headed down by Diop into quite a dangerous position. Hook clear by Sessegnon. And that is the half-time whistle from the referee. And what a first half it is for Fulham, as Thomas Bramall brings that first half to a close. Igor Tudor was shaking his head when the first goal went in, feeling there was a little shove in the back on his defender, Dragusin, but it was not given, and Harry Wilson lashed in his 10th goal of the season to give Fulham the lead. They've since added a second. Wilson with a wonderful set into the path of Alex Iwobi, who placed a beautiful finish in off the inside of the post. They could have had a third, to be fair, with Bassey putting one over, amongst numerous other chances Fulham in that first half. Tottenham have really got to produce something in this second period to turn this one around against the Fulham side, who are really in the mood at the moment. At the break here on the banks of the Thames in SW6, it's Fulham 2, Tottenham 0.
Sports Live. BBC Radio London.
So Bradley Allen, a quick word on what you've seen there in the first half before we head up to Old Trafford. It's kind of what a lot of people might have expected today, neutrals and people coming into the ground. Fulham looking in good form at the moment after the win at Sunderland, and Tottenham just not seemingly able to knock them off their form at the moment.
Yeah, we sort of predicted this one really, with the confidence that Fulham have got going into this fixture, and they've produced once again with that 2-0 lead at the half-time interval. Bit of controversy around the first. Was there a push by Jimenez in the back of Dragusin? But when it fell to Wilson, he expertly volleyed home to give them the lead. And then Iwobi's strike was stunning. They've had the better quality. Spurs have worked hard. They've had a couple of crosses that have gone in when Porro's advanced down the right. A few set plays, but not really created too many half chances. One or two shots from the edge of the box that got blocked or deflected. But Fulham have had controlling spells. They've played with confidence. They've had little, combination play. And I think if they get a third here, that'll be 3 Premier League points for them this afternoon.
You're always wary of saying it, but it's hard to see a turnaround from this position, isn't it? I mean, Tottenham got to score early, and we did see it against City, didn't we, not too long ago, that they have got it within themselves.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. Marco Silva has done a brilliant job here, and that will be his message at half-time. Do not let this second half slip. Don't give Spurs that sort of glimmer of hope to get back into this game. But it needs a big team talk from Igor Tudor at half-time, certainly, to lift these Tottenham players.
Thanks very much for the moment. Bradley Allen alongside me here on BBC Radio London and 5 Sports Extra, as Billy the Badger, the Fulham mascot, gets a rousing welcome as he emerges from the tunnel and heads round the ground at half-time. Let's go up to Old Trafford, where the Palace fans will be giving their team every backing given what they're doing at the moment. Half-time in the game between Manchester United and Crystal Palace. Ross Heaton.
Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 1, and the Eagles in front after a largely positive first half display. They broke the deadlock inside 4 minutes. Lacroix with a brilliant header from a corner, great strength inside the box, and he found that far corner away from Lomans. It could have been more. Sarr stung the palms of Lomans with a right-footed effort. Strand Larsen also caused plenty of problems early on. He was targeting Yoro in particular, not going one-on-one against Maguire. The Red Devils have grown into the game though. Maguire saw a goal-bound header cleared off the line by Sarr. Casemiro headed wide from a floated ball into the box by Fernandes, and the Manchester United captain forced a terrific fingertip save from Henderson from a free kick from 25 yards. So far so good at the break. Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 1.
Thanks very much, Ross. Given what you've seen in that first half, Ross, just a quick word on what you might expect, because obviously United have got the firepower, they're going to come back at them, but how has Palace coped with the kind of threat from United in the first half up to this point?
Well, given the fact that the team has been pretty much unchanged apart from the Brennan Johnson introduction from that game on Thursday, they've looked fresh, full of ideas. Certainly inside the first 20-25 minutes they could have been easily more than one goal in front. Manchester United have definitely come back into it. Šeško has been kept largely quiet. He had one header which was comfortably saved by Henderson away to our left, but they've done pretty well. The only disappointing part from this performance so far is it's not more for Palace, because they did in particular in the first 25 minutes have large spells on top.
Ross, thank you very much indeed for the time being. We'll have second half commentary on the BBC Sport website of Manchester United against Crystal Palace with Ross Heaton and Lee Turnbull from up there at Old Trafford. But what a result that would be if they are to hold on to that scoreline or make it even better. Crystal Palace up there at Manchester United, where many were expecting United, given what Palace are having to compete with at the moment with their squad in Europe and the Premier League. They were expecting United, the form they're on, to maybe run away with that one, but not a bit of it from Crystal Palace. They are making that as hard as ever for Manchester United, having won there, of course, at Old Trafford last season. Well, Fulham leading 2-0 here at Tottenham, and it's 2-1 to Brighton against Forest, currently in the Premier League. But later on, the leaders Arsenal look to respond as they face Chelsea, looking pretty good at the moment for Arsenal in all competitions, but they will know that this run in March could define everything, given how much there is on every single game. They're looking to maintain their excellent record against Chelsea when the two London sides meet at the Emirates this afternoon. The Gunners unbeaten in their last 10 meetings with Chelsea, winning 7 of those games. Manager Mikel Arteta says they have to be wary, though, of Chelsea changing their approach.
We don't know. I mean, they've done different things. They can change throughout the game. They have the players and they have a manager that is very comfortable doing that. So we are prepared. We're going to be prepared in the possible scenarios that we can face throughout the game, and then try to be better than them.
Well, Arteta says their record doesn't count for much if they don't play to their standards on this occasion.
That doesn't change the preparation. We know the importance of the game. We know the team that we're going to have in front of us, and we just have to prepare in the best way to earn the right to win it. As I always said, there is nothing else that you can do. What we've done 2 weeks ago or 2 years ago, it's irrelevant, because every game and every context is different, because the players might change, the mood of the teams can be in a different state, or what is at stake is different, and we are prepared.
Well, the Spaniard is gearing up for 7 more massive games in March. He was asked at the pre-match press conference if these games would potentially define the whole season.
I think it will be very important for what is going to be happening in April and May, that's for sure, because there are competitions and knockout stages, and then you already know you are out.
Of course, if they win these, then the games that will define their season will still be to come in April and May generally, apart from that League Cup final. But every game's vital now for Arsenal in the run-in. The pressure's on every single week, every few days, really. But what about the recent form of striker Victor Gyökeres?
Well, I think one thing leads to another. You know, when you score the first one, or the performances are good, you have more time with your teammates, you understand the games, the opponent, the league better, everything helps. We know his qualities. He's undoubtedly an incredible striker. We need to fit to his quality. We need to understand him better. He needs to understand the team, the league better, and I think we are in the right trajectory.
Well, the Chelsea manager Liam Rossigna at the pre-match press conference for Chelsea was also asked about the upturn in form for the Swedish forward.
Well, I worked with Victor. I worked with him with Brighton's under-23s. Saw him come through to the first team there. Victor adds a degree of physicality, of pace to stretch the game in behind. And I think he's starting to build his confidence, and he's shown he can score goals, which is what every striker wants to do. Eze, again, I've come across him many times. I remember watching him in the Championship then and thinking what an outstanding talent he is. They've got talented players throughout the pitch. They've got physicality throughout their team, and we know it's going to be a difficult game. And what I would say is they also know it's going to be a very difficult game for them.
Well, Chelsea head to the leaders this afternoon, hoping for a first away win at Arsenal. In over 5 years, the Blues are in a race to qualify for next season's Champions League themselves, but have had costly draws against Leeds and Burnley in their last few games. Manager Liam Rossigna says they're up against a team that have got most of the bases covered at the moment.
Press really high, their compact shape in a low blocks. They're fantastic defensively, obviously set plays, they're well coached, and they play very good football as well. They're an all-round very good team, and that's why they're in the situation they're in at the moment. It's my job and the players' job is to try and find that weakness and to try to enjoy what's going to be a really, really big game on Sunday.
Rossigna also says they can't afford to miss out on a top 5 finish.
Yeah, this club should be in the Champions League. This club is a Champions League club. We just have to take it game by game. If you'd have said to any manager coming in, I think when I took over we were 8th, we're now in the race. We've won 4 and we've drawn 2, and the 2 games we've drawn, we're in complete dominance of both games. That's the reality and that's the facts. So I like to look at that. It gives me confidence in the group that we can be successful in the short and long term.
Well, that was Liam Rossigna. Also heard from Mikel Arteta there, the 2 managers. Let's hear from our reporter Harry Simew, who's at the Emirates this afternoon, looking ahead to what should be an intriguing match, given what City managed to do against Leeds yesterday. Good afternoon, Harry.
Afternoon, Andy. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, thanks. They're all huge, as I said, aren't they? These 7 games in March, every Arsenal fan. So much to look forward to, but also so much trepidation, I suppose.
Absolutely. Going into every game, I think most Arsenal fans at the moment are a bag of nerves, but ultimately this is where Arsenal want to be. They want to be competing on multiple fronts. They want to be in the mix for the game's biggest prizes, and if you're going to go out and do it, you have to go out and grab it, don't you? Nobody's going to hand it to you. And I think what we saw from Arsenal last weekend at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium gave people a real boost of confidence, and I think it was needed after a couple of disappointing results and performances against Brentford and Wolves. Arsenal needed to do something big to kind of show people that no, they can get back to their best, they can play with a freedom. And I felt like at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium you knew after sort of 5-6 minutes what kind of Arsenal performance you were going to get. You knew that they were up for it, you knew that they were on the front foot. I'd argue that Tottenham probably played into their hands a little bit, but I think you saw a confidence flowing through that team that maybe hasn't been there in recent weeks. So you hope that that's a little bit of a reset. You hope that that'll give Arsenal the belief and the confidence to come out here today against a good Chelsea side and do something very similar. I guess the big question is, how are Chelsea going to approach this game? Because they came here in the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, a goal behind in the bigger picture of the tie, and they set up in a really defensive way. And I know Liam Rossigna got some credit for sort of being a little bit more streetwise maybe and saying we need to stay in this game first and foremost and then build on that. But it'll be interesting to see if they adopt a similar approach with the scores being level, or if they're a bit more on the front foot, given it's a league game and not a knockout tie. Because I do think with this Arsenal team, Andy, there's a certain style of football that when they come up against it, they do find it quite difficult. When you come out and play open, expansive football and you get on the front foot against Arsenal, they love that. It gives them an opportunity to exploit the spaces in behind, to stretch you. And I just wonder if Rossigna is going to come and play in a more conservative way from fear of that happening, and even more so probably after what happened at Spurs last weekend.
You know, the League Cup semi-final, the second leg, Chelsea did make life difficult for Arsenal, didn't they? But obviously Arsenal had the advantage going into that second leg, so you can't quite look at it in the same way as both teams starting from 0-0, can you?
No, you can't.
It showed that he did have a way of playing that frustrated Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. I just thought it was a bit surprising because they were a goal down. in the context of the tie, they came here a goal down. The onus wasn't really on Arsenal to go and force the issue. It was on Chelsea. And as the game went on, you're sort of looking at it and thinking, well, when are they going to flick the switch and try and be that more expansive and try and be a little bit more aggressive? And in the end, they did it in the last sort of 15-20 minutes of the game. And late on, Kai Havertz went down the other end and scored to knock them out. So, yeah, it's just fascinating because we don't know too much about Liam Rosenior as a coach. At least I don't. I had very limited knowledge of the work he'd done at Strasbourg. Obviously, he's come to the Premier League and he speaks really well. He speaks a great game, but he's going to get a little bit of a hard time, I'd imagine, here at Emirates today because he notoriously complained, didn't he, about the warm-up routine. So there's going to be a bit of banter around that, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well said. I imagine they won't have forgotten that, no doubt.
Yeah, no way.
Harry, look forward to speaking to you later, getting the team news as well. Thanks very much indeed.
Cheers.
For the time being. We've got the second half coming up shortly here at Craven Cottage. Fulham leading Spurs by 2-0. It's 3 minutes past 3.
BBC Radio London.
The thing is, I love this city also because I feel very free here. A mix of freedom as well as homeliness.
The sound of London.
There is a big community and I'm lucky to be part of it because we all help each other, support each other.
Why are you here in London?
I'm here in London because I got a call to come out. It's very similar. You guys just have cooler accents than us.
The sound of London.
The perception of London is often considered sort of urban, built up and not particularly green, but
nearly 50% of London is green and there's wildlife all around us.
BBC Radio London.
This documentary is like a love letter to London.
Listen on your smart speaker and on BBC Sounds. Total Sport Live.
BBC Radio London.
Live here on Total Sport on BBC Radio London. Fulham against Tottenham. Palace up at Manchester United. And later on, Arsenal facing Chelsea. Big afternoon for our London clubs in the Premier League. And Fulham having a great go of it so far, leading by 2-0 here against Spurs, thanks to goals from Harry Wilson and Alex Iwobi. Palace 1-up at Old Trafford, would you believe, thanks to Maxence Lacroix. And it's 2-1 currently to Brighton against Forest on the south coast going into the second half. It's 2-2. It finished in the Old Firm derby between Rangers and Celtic, which helps Hearts more than anyone, you would think, in the race for the title in the SPL. And we're back off and underway here in our live commentary game on BBC Radio London, BBC 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sport Online here at Craven Cottage, with the referee immediately blowing his whistle after a flag from his assistant on the near side for a free kick to Spurs. And Thomas Bramall just making sure Spurs are taking that free kick from the correct position. Fulham all in white, Tottenham all in black, and this is how they line up for this afternoon's game here at Craven Cottage at the start of the second half. No changes from either side. Fulham with Bernd Leno captaining the team in the absence of the ill Joachim Andersen. The back four of Kenny Tete, Issa Diop, Calvin Bassey and Ryan Sessegnon, who plays against his former club. Sander Berger, Emil Smith-Rowe and Alex Iwobi are the midfield, with Oscar Bob and Harry Wilson either side of Raul Jimenez up front. As Fulham bring the ball forward through Smith-Rowe, it could break for Jimenez, but Vicario pouncing on that ball. He's in goal for Spurs, obviously. A back four of Pedro Porro and Archie Gray, the fullbacks, Radu Dragusin and Mickey van der Ven, the captain. Centre halves, João Paulinho, another player against his old club, is in the midfield alongside Conor Gallagher and Yves Bissouma, and then Xavi Simons is supporting Dominic Solanke and Randall Kolo Muani up front from a kind of number 10 position. I'll run you through the benches in just a moment, but Fulham starting the second half as they played for most of the first on the front foot. They have Benjamin Lecomte, the goalkeeping cover, on the bench, then Reid, Muniz, Kearney, Cuenca, Chukwueze, Castagna, King and Robinson. And for Spurs, two goalkeepers on the bench with all their injuries, Kinski and Austin, the goalkeepers. Danso, Richarlison, Tel, Sarr, Souza, Olasesi and Roswell are the other substitutes for Spurs. As Tete plays that ball forward, Iwobi wasn't expecting the pass that he sent, but it was an excellent one. If Jimenez or Iwobi had read it, they would have been right in on goal, but it's Tottenham who were able to play it out from the back, and it's Simons dribbling across the pitch. He's shown signs since signing for such a lot of money, Simons, that he's got great quality, but at the moment he's not able to define games with that quality, and Spurs needing him and others to really step up in this second half if they're going to get anything out of this as they attack the Putney end of the ground where their fans are in this second half of the game. Forward it goes for Fulham towards Jimenez. His touch lets him down, and it's out for a throw-in on the far side of the field. Alongside me, Andy Rowley, for this live commentary on 5 Sports Extra and BBC Radio London. It's Bradley Allen.
Yeah, I think the Fulham coach, Marco Silva, will want much of the same, and not their professional standards that's pushed them to a 2-0 lead here in this match and this London derby to drop and allow Spurs a way back into this one. The onus, the responsibility really is on Spurs to try and produce a remarkable turnaround. Where that's going to come from, are they going to create a chance, remains to be seen. But they need to do something here, because I'm not sure the travelling fans will go home too happy unless they put up a bit of a fight in this second half.
Well, we had this situation against Man City a few weeks back, like I said, in the first half, and Spurs did manage to muster a great comeback seemingly from nowhere, but it's not been a lightning start to the second half. Fulham very comfortable at the moment, have won a free kick midway inside the Spurs half.
Yeah, Jimenez took a throw in there, and he felt that Dragerson, that's his second challenge from behind. Igor Tudor's not too happy again with the fourth official. We think the Fulham number 7 used a bit of contact and dived a little bit. He's frustrated. Fulham free kick. Key players, Iwobi, goal scorer Wilson, both of them on the score sheet this afternoon over this free kick.
Iwobi looks like he fancies it. Wilson actually takes it down the line, looking for the return ball. It comes back to Iwobi, in fact, and he's going to move it to Sessegnon. Game taking place behind the pillar at the moment. Sessegnon's going to try his luck on his right foot. He's sent it high and wide into the Hammersmith end of the ground, and it will be 2-0 to Fulham, 49 minutes on the clock. You're listening to BBC Radio London, 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sport Online.
There's a good few substitutes warming up away to our right-hand side, just off the pitch. You know, whether, you know, they're going to be considered.
Dangerous header across his own penalty area from Pedro Porro, cleared away though by Van der Ven. Then Kolo Muani, not getting much change out of Calvin Bassey, but has won a free kick there. And it will be a Spurs free kick just inside their own half. Some of the fans make their way back to their seats at the start of this second period. They'll be loving this at the moment. Won this fixture 3-0 a couple of seasons ago, 2-0 last season, when you might remember, Bradley, Sessegnon scored late on against his old team.
Yeah, fans enjoyed that, didn't they? Oh, interception, big chance.
Oscar Bob is racing forward with the ball here for Fulham. He's going to tee it up for Smith Rowe. Oh, sent it straight across the face of goal. Jimenez couldn't get a touch on it, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, he's got his head in his shirt, the former Arsenal man. He
Huge moment to finish it.
Drove diagonally when he won the interception, Bob. He just reversed it to Smith Rowe. It was a tad heavy. It was going away from goal on his weaker left foot, and he sort of bobbled it across the 6-yard box beyond the far post. Jimenez in support. He couldn't get the final touch. Maybe even the goalkeeper tipped that run round the post.
The manager will be frustrated there, won't he, Bradley, because when you're a perfectionist, like most of these managers, all of them are really, they are the moments when you're 2-0 up, you've got to take
transition moments. 4v3 overload that Fulham had, that would have put this game to bed.
We might see a bit more of that, mightn't we, with Tottenham having to throw caution to the wind a bit more now. The onus is on them. That's a terrible, terrible free kick. It's launched miles forward beyond any Tottenham player, and out for a goal kick to Fulham. The Fulham fans, as you can hear, kind of laughing and jeering at that. It's really not good enough from Vicario. And the whole stadium have kind of set upon that moment as a kind of example of just the gulf between the sides at the moment. Bassey, oh, that's a good regain by Gallagher. He's going to try and tee it up for Solanke. It was just beyond his outstretched left foot there.
Oh, it's a huge moment. Fulham are so lucky, but they're going to go the other end and score.
Here's Iwobi sending it up the left-hand side. He's pushed it very wide for Oscar Bob, who's just kept it in. Bob tries to play it down the line for Sessegnon, who was on the overlap. Now Iwobi taking over in this attack. Flicks it off the outside of the boot. 27,439 here this afternoon, with Tottenham taking their full allocation. Looked a complete sellout to me.
Yeah, there was a lapse in concentration left side when Fulham played out from the back. Gallagher pinched the pocket of Bassi, and he's tried to put the ball on a plate 4 yards out for Solanke, but he just drilled his cross too hard, and then Fulham went in the other direction. The game is really opening up. It's a matter of time before we get the third goal in this game.
Bissouma playing it up the right touchline for Gallagher. He's looking for Kolo Muani in the box. Diop has come across and he's given away a penalty. No, it's a goal kick. It's shoulder to shoulder. And no foul, says the referee.
He was first to the ball there, I thought, Muani. He towed it away. There's a bit of contact, not a huge amount, where the referee's just being asked to maybe have a look. Not much.
Yeah,
perhaps he went down
just shoulder
a
to
bit
shoulder.
too easy.
He definitely got the first touch, like you say, though, Bradley. But he was quite canny there, not to do much on his challenge, do too much. Just go shoulder to shoulder, but not do anything too aggressive on the tackle. Tete sent a clearance way up into the air. Solanke backing into Diop, trying to get the knockdown, and then Berger hooks it upfield. Pedro Porro volleying it back forward. Now it's Jimenez in the centre circle. Out to the left he goes to Oscar Bob. He's got Smith Rowe on the overlap. Smith Rowe looking for the cross, then holds on to the ball, plays it down the line for Bob. Iwobi. In comes the cross. Jimenez! Great block from Van der Ven. Otherwise that was 3.
Clever. Lovely give and go combination play. Fulham left side of the penalty box. And when it was cut, he upped his run. Jimenez tried to sweep. Goal bound left foot on Van der Ven to the rescue for the Spurs defence. It's all Fulham.
Wilson and Iwobi come over for the corner routine again. 54 on the clock. And Van der Ven just getting in the way of that shot from Jimenez, which I think was destined to make the net bulge. Here comes the corner from Iwobi. Back post is Tete, but he hasn't been able to get anything on that to send it back across goal, and it's a goal kick to Spurs, which Vicario is scrambling to take with only 10 minutes gone in the second half. It remains Fulham 2, Spurs 0.
Yeah, Spurs just sort of withstood the corner. He sort of hung up in the air a little bit in the breeze, but it looks as if maybe Richarlison's Sarr could be considered here for Spurs. The Spurs coach needs to act really, because we're approaching the hour mark.
Ball is out for a throw-in on the far side of the field. Pedro Porro preparing to take the throw-in for Spurs. Is there someone being readied on the bench over there? No, not yet. Oh yeah, there is. It's Richarlison.
Yeah, Richarlison and Sarr, I believe.
Sarr, right. Thank you, Bradley. Berger winning the ball back for Fulham. Kasuma's slid in there, but it's he's not won the ball back cleanly, and it will be a throw-in anyway. Free kick rather to Fulham, and it will be Bassi to take it. There's a lot of fans in the opposite stand who have yet to take their seats again for the second half, Bradley.
Have you frequented the new stand yet, Andy?
I've had one game where I sat quite close to the dugout where Marco Silva is, but I haven't been in higher echelons. Here goes Raul Jimenez, pulls it back for Wilson. Wilson left-footed shot blocked by Dragusin. Then he goes down. Palinha then slides in, and Spurs bring the ball away through Gallagher.
Defended from Spurs. Jimenez span on that right-hand side. Spurs trying to break with Simmons here on their left. It's really open this second half, isn't it? Both these sides, one pretty desperate to get the next goal, another thinking they can really get a big scoreline here if they play their cards right.
Simons and Gallagher were doing really well out the left, but then just didn't make anything out of their progress, and now Fulham have won a free kick just outside their penalty area, and a chance for them to clear the ball away upfield. Well, it's looking tricky for Spurs at the moment. What are they going to try with their substitutions? Gallagher is going to make way for Pape Sarr. The former Chelsea midfielder doesn't get a great reaction from the Fulham fans. And Charlatan is also going to come on for Kolo Muani. Xavi Simons is the other player to come off. So Richarlison, Tell are both on. Spurs look to try and make something happen. Sarr as well. So 3 changes with Simons and Gallagher and Kolo Muani all making way. Solanke, the only member of the attack, still out there for Spurs. So Igor Tudor really changing it up to try and find the winning formula, or a formula just to get them back in the game at the moment.
Yeah, Tell and Richarlison as sort of support Solanke, like a 3-pronged attack really for Spurs. I think they'll play forward a bit more direct. Those players in those positions have got to take risks here and get after the ball and just try and force a mistake and an error and make Fulham a little bit nervous and get the game to 2-1 if possible.
Ball is out for a throw-in on the far side of the field. It's going to be Sessegnon to come forward to take it. With Spurs 2-0 down and facing another defeat in this calendar year. No wins in 9 coming into the game in the league this year, 2026. 1935, 94 and 99, the only years where they failed to win a league game in January and February up until this year. Next up for Spurs is Palace on Thursday, a game you can hear live right here as Wilson bursting forward down the right-hand side. He's dribbling this way and that, then pokes it goalwards, and Pedro Porro is there just to get the ball in front of his goalkeeper and clear it away outfield. Richarlison claiming a foul there from Issa Diop.
Yeah, poor challenge. Misjudged the flight of the ball, completely body checked. Richarlison on the halfway line. He probably, the former Everton striker, was not going to get on the end of the long clearance. Fulham had the attack, clever from Wilson, couldn't quite find the end product and cross, and then in the other direction away to our left. Richarlison's first introduction to play really. Yellow for Diop, quite cynical that.
Free kick then to Spurs. Van der Ven is standing over it on the halfway line. Plays it short to Dragusin. Dinked off the outside of the boot by Pedro Porro to Bissouma. Back to Dragusin again. Now Van der Ven. Palhinha. Just inside his own half of the field. Still quite slow from Spurs when they need to show the urgency. Pape Sarr as well forward. It's headed down by Sessegnon. Berger's there first. Gets it to Iwobi. Iwobi now moving it out to the left-hand side. Bob back to Iwobi. Floating it forward to Smith Rowe, who's made a good run down the middle of the pitch, but couldn't quite bring the ball under control. Away from Spurs only as far as Oscar Bob. On the left-hand side, he's forced back into his own half. And Bassi plays it to Diop.
But they're pressing here, Spurs. They've got to really go man for man, trying to, put these Fulham players under pressure. Fulham, you just sense are playing the game really smartly, aren't they?
Iwobi, here's Smith Rowe, surely great save from Vicario. Fulham just can't seem to get this third goal despite the chances.
Oh, he's so frustrated, Marco Silva. Lovely football from the left, across the pitch. Just a straight run through the heart of the defence from Iwobi. Credit to Vicario. He threw himself out and he's made a brilliant last-ditch save there. If maybe Smith Rowe could have jinked round the on-rushing keeper or just deftly lifted it over him. Good goalkeeping.
What a chance that was. Really opened up. Corner from the right-hand side. Wilson sending it into the near post, cleared away by Pedro Porro. Then Tell will try and get it away further upfield. Richarlison chasing this, but Sessegnon on his back, and he nods it down to Bob. With Fulham still leading 2-0, and pretty comfortable, Bradley, but the crowd desperate to just get that third one to really give them the confidence.
They want more goals on the scoreboard and drive home the advantage.
Yeah.
Diop, this near side, has just managed to keep the ball in play, but it's still frantic in parts, isn't it? He's been classy, Wopey, hasn't he, this afternoon? Some of his touch and pass has been top quality.
Raul Jimenez, real clash there with Van de Ven, and there is going to be a booking here for the Dutchman. Free kick to Fulham midway inside their own, the Tottenham half of the field.
Well, with skipper Romario out with suspension, Spurs got to keep their discipline here. Just jinked inside. Paulinho missed it. A barge from Van de Ven, a foul, a yellow for the Dutchman.
Let's go to Old Trafford, get the latest in a thriller for Crystal Palace up at Manchester United with Ross Heaton.
Where it's 1-1 and Palace are down to 10 men. Lacroix has been sent off. It was an arm on the shoulder of Cunha. He went down inside the penalty area. Long VAR review. In the end, a referee. And there's another goal. It's Šeško for Manchester United. The Slovenian buries the header into the bottom corner, and the 10-men trail. Fernandez had restored parity with a penalty after Lacroix had been red-carded, and Benjamin Šeško has put Manchester United in front for the first time in this game. Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 1.
Well, that has completely turned on its head up there at Old Trafford, Bradley. It's going so well. And now Lacroix, who scored the goal, finds himself off the field, and United have turned it around.
Yeah, that could be huge for Manchester United in their push for a top 4 finish.
Here goes Tell for Spurs, edge of the Fulham penalty area. He lays it off Archie Gray, chips it in, should score here for Richarlison, and they have got a goal back, Spurs. Boy, they've needed that. They're wrestling for the ball. Richarlison wants to take a quick kick off again, but the Fulham players, Bassi and Diop, wrestling with him for the ball. The Tottenham fans celebrate. Great little chip cross from Archie Gray. Richarlison walking onto it to put it in, and now a yellow card for Bassi for holding onto the ball there. And Tottenham potentially back in it after Fulham have had numerous opportunities to put this game to bed.
Well, we don't know how crucial that goal could prove to be in Spurs' season. Archie Gray did ever so well. I thought he'd miscontrolled it. He got to the left byline and he stood a delicious cross up, sub Richarlison just beyond the far post, headed into the corner. 2-1, game on.
Well. This happens so often. When you think a team's so on top, they don't take their chances. You never quite know. Igor Tudor gesticulating to his team to try and get some message across. We can go to the Emirates. Team news is in for the 4:30 kickoff. Arsenal against Chelsea. Harry Symeou.
Arsenal are unchanged from the side that beat Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last weekend, and Kai Havertz returns to the bench in another boost for the Gunners. Chelsea have made 2 changes. Sarr and Hato come into the back line. Out go the suspended Fofana and Malo Gusto. Kick-off in just over an hour's time.
And that one will be watched by many, and listened to by many across the next few hours, given the importance. Here goes Tell, breaking forward down the left-hand side. Good bit of skill from Tell, and the tackle comes in from Tete to put it behind. It's a Spurs corner.
Yeah, Richarlison, Sarr, Solanke were ready for the cross. Maybe a touch too many on Spurs left from Tell, but it is a corner, and it's the Tottenham Hotspur fans that you can hear. Momentum building. Crucial part of this game now, midway through this second half.
2-1 Fulham lead. Tottenham have a corner, and they've sprung into life in front of the area of the ground where the away fans are. This corner taken to the back post, headed down by Dragusin, but glanced well wide, and it remains Fulham 2, Tottenham 1.
Yeah, not enough on the delivery really, and he got under the ball. He's going away from goal with his headed effort there, Dragusin. Penny for the faults of the Fulham coach now. Does he make changes? Does he turn to his bench to get this one done and a third? Or does he trust his players can do that are out on the field of play and get a semblance of control back that Fulham have largely had across this game so far?
They really should have put it to bed by now, shouldn't they? The chances they've had.
Very much so, yeah, they played well.
Think about that Bassey header, the chances in this second half when they've been clean through with the likes of Smith Rowe. But Tottenham potentially in with a chance of getting something out of this now. But Jimenez might have something to say about that. He's driving forward, laying it off to Iwobi. Now with Diop. I think both those centre-halves on a booking for Fulham as well, Bradley, now.
Yeah, that's why Spurs have got to just go for it, really, and get after the ball. Because I think if Fulham choose to play a little bit longer, Jimenez is just sort of starting to tire. They'll get the ball back and they'll be able to then put it back into the area where the fresher Tell and Richarlison, like they've shown, can maybe have the influence on this game and the desired effect.
Ball played forward towards Richarlison, touches it back to Pape Sarr. He's going to sweep it out to the right-hand side where he finds Pedro Porro. They're suddenly looking energised, Spurs, having been quite flat for most of the game. Van de Ven to Bissouma. Now Tell driving towards the edge of the penalty area. Wilson and Iwobi getting back to try and stop his run. Diop clearance only as far as Tete, then up towards Raul Jimenez. Lovely layoff to Smith Rowe, and then Tete will switch the play out to the left to Sessegnon, helping it forward towards Bob. Back to Sessegnon again. He's trying to break through the middle, but Van de Ven was there and gets it back to his goalkeeper Vicario.
Yeah,
still in with a chance of getting something out of this.
Absolutely. If they can just break the pressure, Fulham are definitely going to go through in on the Spurs goal. The Fulham fans recognise that. They're getting right behind their team here. This is a terrific London derby now.
Fulham's record in recent seasons in March has not been too handy. It's where the season has kind of fallen down a bit in the Premier League in recent years. 4 wins in 18 in March over the last few years. A couple of changes coming up for Fulham though. They are going to get Tom Cairney on by the looks of things, amongst a couple of other changes. Muniz is being readied as well. You can see there on the far side of the field.
Chukwueze as well, I believe. The attacking winger. They could be the 3, triple change.
And this is just added to what we were saying earlier about the depth that Fulham have got now. Wilson's down, he's probably going to have to make way. But they've got players who can really make a massive difference, haven't they, off the bench? It wasn't always the case in the first year.
Yeah, you correctly highlighted that, Andy, at the top of the show in the game this afternoon at 2 o'clock. And we're going to see some of them now. Wilson, I think, has got a soft tissue injury, possibly a bit of a tight hamstring, so he's ambling across to that far side. Well, he's definitely going to be replaced. Hopefully that's not too serious, a goal scorer.
Both for country and club. So Wilson is going to be replaced by Chukwueze. Smith Rowe also making way for Cairney. I thought Iwobi was being replaced then, but he's just gone over for a word with the manager and coaching staff. And Muniz will come on for Jimenez, I presume. No, Jimenez is still out there at the moment. I presume it will be Jimenez. Yeah, he's going across now.
Coming off number 7, Raul Jimenez.
Muniz has scored in this fixture the last 2 seasons, so he'll be looking to keep up that tally as he comes on, the Brazilian.
Yeah, a hard-working performance, impressive again from Jimenez. Muniz first legs, Chukwueze first legs, and the experience of Cairney. just sort of given, a bit more discipline in there, Fulham, centrally, to shore things up. Iwobi will play free as the 10, and they'll get the ball out to Bob and Chukwueze in 1v1s and break as and when Spurs go after the ball here, because they've got to really push on. 20 minutes or so to go.
All three of the 2 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League are 2-1 to the home side at the moment. Brighton leading Forest by 2-1. 2-1 here to Fulham against Spurs, and Manchester United 2-1 up against 10-man Palace after the Eagles led that game at half-time. Lacroix scored and sent off in that game. Fernandes scoring a penalty, and Sesko with his customary goal of late to give United a 2-1 lead in that game up at Old Trafford. Tackle coming in there from João Palhinha. He's rolling around, having collided with Tete. Is he going to get...
Yeah, he come flying across the pitch.
He's just
caught his
hurt himself
former teammate. I don't know if he's sort of got his studs caught in the turf, and the follow-through. Acknowledgement from Tete, but it was a Fulham free kick. Good decision from the ref.
Josh King coming on, Bradley.
Yeah, 4 changes. Just sensing the moment, really. This is something that Marco Silva, I think you have to commend him on. He's sort of developed this across his coaching managerial journey to get teams over the line and get results. They're renowned for it, aren't they, the Portuguese coaches? And the priority of winning, Andy, he's really skilled at that, and he feels that this game needs these 4 changes like he's applied.
Let's get back up to Old Trafford, get the latest in that game for Palace up at Manchester United, where they led but now trail. United Palace, Ross Heaton.
Yes, 10-man Palace still 2-1 down, and they are hanging on a little bit. Henderson has made a terrific save from Casemiro on the volley. It's wave after wave of Manchester United attacks. The Palace fans, I'm sure, will be watching back this evening for that VAR decision, which saw the penalty awarded, which Lacroix was red carded for and Fernandes converted, but they are trailing and hanging on. Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 1.
Thanks very much, Ross. Commentary continues on that game on the BBC Sport website. Bradley, we've just had a great chance for Tom Kearney with just how he can strike a ball on his left foot just outside the box, but just drags his shot wide.
His first touch was really good. He steadied himself and just sort of dragged it wide of the post. He had his head in his hands, didn't he, Tom Kearney? Big moment, that.
Chukwueze taken out by Palhinha. Free kick to Fulham. I think a lot of the Fulham fans are thinking that could be a booking, even though
they do for their
they used to love that player.
Midfielder. That's part of his DNA, isn't it?
Yeah. Sander Berge takes the free kick short to Issa Diop. Well, Fulham have changed it up today. 12 of their last 14 Premier League goals before today have come in the second half of games, but today they got a lot of work done in the first half. Go 2-0 up, but they might just need another one to put this to bed, because Tottenham back into it after Richarlison's goal off the bench. It's 2-1.
Well, there'll be a chance here, we're going into the last 10 minutes of normal time, and I think if Spurs can just keep the scoreline at 2-1, they still might be able to salvage something from this game.
Pedro Porro with the free kick for Spurs. Near the centre circle. Plenty forward in the attack for Tottenham. Here it comes. Floated forward for Dragusin to head back across goal. Nodded away by Tete. And then hooked clear by Chukwueze straight to Josh King, who was the only player up there. King moving across the field, gets it back to Sessegnon, and now Kearney with a lovely turn to Sander Berge, striding forward through the middle. It's out to the right to Chukwueze. Chukwueze will take on Archie Gray here onto his left foot. Chukwueze still going. There's a foot in, comes all the way to Iwobi, who's put it well over the bar, and it's another in this catalogue of chances.
Big chance. Great move. Lovely football again from Fulham, and Chukwueze maybe had a touch too many. He eventually offloaded it. Maybe it just bobbled up. but it found Iwobi on that left-hand side. He tried to sweep it with his right foot, but he's put it high and over the crossbar.
Ball sent upfield by Spurs. Bassi goes up for it with Richarlison, who battles to get it to Solanke, and Solanke getting away here. He's got Richarlison in the middle if he can find him. It's come off Sanderberger. It's going to be a corner to Tottenham.
He did well, Solanke. Real nuisance value. He was being wrestled by Diop, who's on a yellow, and he was last man. I think if he'd have gone down, he would have put the referee in a bit of a pickle, really, with the decision. But Spurs are pushing here. Can they find that chance to get the fourth goal of the game?
You would have struggled to see this coming at half-time.
Yeah, quite remarkable, really.
Or even in the first 10 minutes of the second half. But Spurs starting to make this a nervy finish for the home fans who've watched their team play so well and been in control for most of the game. Here comes the corner, headed away by Diop, the tallest man in that penalty area. And it's out for a throw into Spurs on the far side of the field in front of the Riverside stand. You're listening to BBC Radio London, BBC 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sport Online, live here at Craven Cottage.
Long throw, keep the momentum. Tottenham Hotspur, Dragerson from the right. And it comes.
Loopy throw in. Diop gets to head that away again. Dragerson, who took the throw in, gets to the loose ball first. It's into the box from Pedro Porro, headed sideways really by Tete. Wasn't quite where he intended it to go, but then Kearney takes over and gets it into the space for Chukwueze to run onto it. Here he goes, Chukwueze chipping a ball into the box. It's Muniz chesting it down, now trying to hook a shot goalwards. It's straight down the throat of Vicario, and it remains Fulham 2, Tottenham 1.
Yeah, clever striking play. He's had a back to goal. He was falling away. He managed to chest control it. And Charlton's offside on the ball behind. Assistant flagged early. Fulham sub hit the effort. It's all happening, isn't it? Could be another sub as well.
Yeah.
Looks as if the young fullback, is it Suzu's going to come on here?
Bradley, I'm not sure that it's helping Spurs to break it up with the substitutions. They're playing a bit better now.
Yes.
I think Fulham, I can understand why they're making more changes and breaking up the play a bit, but I think Tottenham should try and keep the pedal to the floor. Archie Gray is the player who's switched sides. Sousa's come on in that left-back position. And they've taken off Bissouma in the midfield, Bradley. So Gray's playing ahead of Pedro Porro on that right-hand side now. He's soon going to have played every position, isn't he, Archie Gray?
Barry goalkeeper.
Close now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't quite done a Steve Brown and gone in nets yet, has he?
Not just yet.
Like the great Bobby Moore did once upon a time as well, of course, in the semi-final. Pedro Porro hasn't quite got that ball fully clear. Pape Sarr comes back to help him out. It's back to Vicario. Josh King closing him down. It's forward by the Italian down the right-hand side for Spurs. Kearney almost gets tackled there by his old teammate Palinha. Bassi to Kearney. Berger to Diop. Tete forward to Kearney. This is nice football from Fulham. Chukwueze hugging the right touchline. Socks around his ankles. Tries to play a ball forward for Muniz to run onto on a diagonal, but doesn't quite come off. Tell bringing the ball forward. He's looked energised since coming off the bench. Breathing a bit of life into Tottenham. There was a 50-50 there, left Tete down, but he's back to his feet now. Sessegnon to King. Now out to Iwobi on the left-hand side. A swivel of the hips from him as he gets the pass away. Now gets it to Sessegnon. Lovely turn from Sessegnon. That looked like it came off.
Yeah, he's claiming a corner. He thought it'd come off of Dragerson now.
So
the ball was played into his feet and he tried to swivel beyond the defender, but not given. To be fair, at least for, 15 minutes in the introduction of subs, the intent and drive really of Palinha from midfield, Spurs have shown improvement, and that gives their fans a semblance of encouragement for the coming weeks. But it is going to be a late show, isn't it, really, if they are going to get something against the runner. Play a little bit still from this one, having been 2-0 down.
Bradley Allen, the voice you can hear alongside me, the former Premier League striker, with me, Andy Rowley, here at Craven Cottage, where Fulham lead by 2-1. It really should have been more, but Tottenham have got back into it thanks to a second-half goal from Richarlison. Fulham with a host of chances, 2 of which were taken by Harry Wilson and Alex Iwobi, but they didn't put the game to bed, and Tottenham have given themselves a chance in this one. Premier League games throughout the midweek as well this week, so Brentford, informed Brentford with that away win in the end at Burnley, down at Bournemouth on Tuesday night, a game you can hear live with BBC Radio London, and Wednesday night we'll be back here at the Cottage for Fulham against West Ham, and Thursday Tottenham against Palace. All those games coming up live on the home of London football, BBC Radio London, as Richarlison tries to get the cross in. That's come off Sander Berger, and that's gone out for a throw-in next to the corner flag.
Jurgensen again. The Spurs number 3 jogging across in front of the Tottenham Hotspur fans. Set plays have been one of the few better things really for Spurs, haven't they, across this difficult, troublesome Premier League campaign. Is this going to be the way back to get this to 2-2?
Here comes the throw, headed away by Sessegnon. King on the swivel, gets it upfield looking for Sessegnon. Sessegnon tackled by Pedro Porro, and it's out for a throw-in on the far side of the field. Fulham looking for back-to-back wins after becoming only the second team to win at the Stadium of Light after Liverpool when they went up there last weekend. Now trying to win this home game against Tottenham for the 3rd season in a row. Sessegnon switching the play out to Tete. He's got Chukwueze ahead of him. The Fulham fans want them to go for the jugular here, Fulham, but they're a little bit reluctant to do so. They're still just looking to try and play in the right areas of the pitch, not give Tottenham the chance to break quickly. Here's Iwobi. Sessegnon breaking forward just beyond him. Iwobi trying to get the ball into the box, comes off Pedro Porro, back to the scorer of the goal that separates the teams. Iwobi finds Chukwueze, lovely turn from Chukwueze, working it through to Muniz. His touch takes him away from goal, and then Pedro Porro, his clearance comes off the back of a Fulham player, headed forward by Palinha. Kearney is there again, and Fulham just keeping Tottenham boxed in at the moment with 5 minutes to go of the 90.
Yeah, lovely little turn, wasn't it, from Sub Chukwueze. Got away from his man. The ball didn't quite break off the set, but Fulham maybe on the switch of play could be on.
Well, here goes Sessegnon, well forward for Fulham, cross straight across the face of goal again, and Muniz couldn't get the touch on it. It's run for Chukwueze. Chukwueze into the penalty area, left-footed shot. It goes off a deflection and then cleared by Archie Gray. Diop is there to head the ball down to Kearney. They're searching still for this 3rd goal that will surely finish it in Fulham's favour. Iwobi finds Sessegnon on the turn. His shot blocked again by Pape Sarr this time. And then a foul by Bassi on Richarlison, free kick to Spurs, and we can go up to Old Trafford and get the latest between Manchester United and Crystal Palace with Ross Heaton.
Yeah, 10-man Palace are committing players forward. They are still 2-1 down. They've made a host of substitutions. Giesan is back on now, and they're in possession as they try and progress forward down the left. Manchester United have taken their foot off the gas a little bit. Has it allowed Palace maybe a glimmer of an opportunity to get something out of this game? It's Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 1.
Thanks very much, Ross. We'll keep you posted if anything happens in the last few minutes of that one, of course, here on BBC Radio London, 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sport Online, as the ball is booted upfield by Fulham, nowhere near Muniz. It's out for a throw-in to Spurs. Brighton is still leading Forest by 2-1. Scoreline that will please West Ham and Tottenham fans, I suppose, given that Forest are the team right down there with these two sides. West Ham 25 points, Forest 27 currently, and Spurs 29 currently. 4 points between those sides. Brighton moving up to 37 points, which would be 12 points clear of the relegation zone if they hold on to that win on the south coast. Bassi striding forward, tackled hard by Palinha. It's out for a throw in to Fulham on their left-hand side.
The body language of Marco Silva is just fascinating to watch. He's kicking every ball. In moments he wants his side to breeze forward, don't they, and go and get a third, and then he just wants calmness and
they talk about the Tunnel Club. Honestly, if you're on that side of the pitch, a ticket just to watch Marco Silva, manager cam, it's worth it. He's unbelievable, the amount of energy he expends during a match. I was over there for the Ipswich game here last season, and he was absolutely blowing his top.
Chance for Spurs.
Here they go down the left-hand side with Tell. He's got Sousa on the overlap. Sousa breaking into the penalty area. Can he pick a pass out? He's pulled it back. Sar's arriving. He's put it into the side netting.
Oh, it wasn't the best of crosses. Sousa did well. He just run beyond Tell. He was fed into the box. He's tried to cut back. He scuffed it a bit. Sar come from nowhere. Had a touch. Angle against him. We were behind it, but into the side netting. Big moment. Another Fulham change. That's the 5th.
Yeah.
Wow.
Arsenal-Chelsea to come at 4:30 this afternoon in this weekend where there's been so many goals across the Premier League. We'll have reaction to all of today's games for you in the breakfast show tomorrow with Aaron Paul on BBC Radio London. As
a fan on the pitch.
Come onto the pitch.
He's been ejected. That was all rather tame, wasn't it?
Was he trying to take a goal kick?
Yeah.
Ran on to try and boot the ball.
At least like to have seen a change of pace, Andy, wouldn't we?
Well, there wasn't one there.
No, not at all.
Very one-paced. That fan, he didn't even give the officials a run around there. That was easy prey for them as Muniz tries to break down the middle of the field. Dragusin heads it away for Spurs, who are still in this despite the fact that Fulham appeared so dominant so much of the contest. 1 minute to go with the 90 plus added time. Iwobi is going to make way here late in the piece. And, Cuenca are coming on, I think. Yeah, Jorge Cuenca, the centre-back, is coming on.
He, for me, has been man of the match this afternoon. Iwobi, the heartbeat of Fulham performance. He's playing his best football of his career, in my opinion. A wonderful goal. The second, an important one, towards the end of the first half. Powerful right foot shot with his instep. Dragusin as well is coming off here.
He's one of those players, Iwobi, who looks like he's got more time than the others when he's playing at his very best, and that's the way it is at the moment.
No, he's looked really elegant. Danso returning from injury, replacing Dragusin here with 90 minutes on the clock. Six injury minutes
to be added.
Is that going to be some time here for Spurs to get something?
Still 2-1 in all of the 2 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. Palace down to 10, but committing men forward up at Old Trafford. We'll let you know if anything happens in that one. 2-1 here to Fulham against Spurs, who are still yet to win in 2026, but would dearly love a point here at the Cottage. And Brighton leading Nottingham Forest by 2-1, who Forest remain very much in the conversation at the bottom of the table in the relegation battle. First minute of added time at the end of this second half. 2-1 Fulham lead. Cuenca, the substitute, heading the ball down to Berger, who launches it forward up towards King. Back goes Danso to deal with him. Gets the ball up the right touchline. Pedro Porro has been caught there by Kearney and flings himself to the ground. They haven't got time for these histrionics, really.
Yeah, he's given a yellow as well, the referee, much to the annoyance of the Fulham crowd in all sections of the stadium.
They need Pedro Porro to get back up if he can quickly, because they need to get on with it, don't they, Tottenham? Bradley, these minutes are going to go very quickly.
Yeah, they've got to get the ball forward. They've gone a bit direct with the strikers on the field of play. That's why Marco Silva's responded and put Cuenca at the heart of the defence and almost into a back five.
8 minutes added at Old Trafford as well, so that one isn't done yet. Second minute of stoppage time here. Fulham leading Tottenham 2-1. It's sent high and hanging up towards the edge of the Fulham penalty area. Cleared away by the home side. Tottenham try and come back forward with Pedro Porro. Sessegnon comes over to make the challenge, and it's out for a throw into Spurs midway inside the Fulham half down that right-hand touchline.
Yeah, Danso long throw. His first real contribution to this game. Everybody, barring Vicario, inside the Fulham half of the pitch here.
Here it comes from Danso, launched into the penalty area, nodded down for King to clear. Up in the air it goes. This is going to land right by Marco Silva, headed forward down that touchline by King, and still
Brave
not
from King,
outplayed.
wasn't it, to the bouncing ball. He ran round the blind side of Danso. He's took a sort of a little bit of a knock to his face.
Sent forward again for Tottenham. It's come off Richarlison's back, but he's managed to get onto the loose ball. Here comes the cross from the former Everton man. It's Sousa taking over. His cross comes off Issa Diop, then cleared away. It's going to be a corner. It crossed the line before it was cleared away. Corner to Spurs.
Yeah, it's all too frantic. Not too much control here from Fulham. And Spurs, 93 minutes on the clock. Tell to take this corner.
Tell to send it in. Solanke up there. Centre halves up there. Everyone up there really, apart from the keeper. No one staying up for Fulham. They're all back to help out with this corner. In it comes. Keeper gets a punch on it. Leno and Palinha tries to get to the loose ball first. He's up against Bassi. Real wrestling match between the two of them. And then Palinha almost rugby tackles Bassi as he was stretching.
Bit of a dive from Bassi, but what goalkeeping under enormous pressure by Leno there, managing to get a punch on it. Van der Ven's not happy with that challenge and what Bassi did, but the Fulham fans are cheering their team over the line here with a couple of minutes remaining.
Van der Ven's got to leave that as well, because they haven't got time to argue the decisions. They've got to get back in position and put the onus on Fulham to restart the game. There's only 2 minutes of added time to go. Now Pedro Porro's gone in the book for saying too much, I presume.
They've done ever so well here, Fulham. Real gamesmanship there from Bassi. They've wasted all of 45 seconds in that moment.
Igor Tudor with a shake of the head. He's about to become the second manager in the Premier League for Tottenham to lose his first 2 games in charge, like Martin Jol. Unless they have a little moment of magic to end this game and try and find a late equaliser. Sessegnon chipping it forward into the channel. Intelligent play just to try and eat up a bit more time. Spurs get to the ball first, clear it upfield. Kenny has knocked that down straight to a Tottenham player. It's Archie Gray. He's going to play it in front of Sousa out on this left-hand side. He's got support in field from Tell. Tell into the box. Gray with a little swivel. It's come off Tete. It's another corner to Spurs.
What a crazy finish to this game. Fulham fans just can't look, Andy, can they?
Well, it's a very strange atmosphere, isn't it?
Vicario up.
Vicario up for the corner.
Is this a Jimmy Glass moment?
30 seconds of the 6 added minutes still to come. Corner about to come in from Tell for Spurs. Is there going to be a late sting in the tail? Leno gets the punch away with Vicario right on top of him. Back out it comes to the corner taker Tell. Vicario heading back to the halfway line. Here goes Tell to the byline. Left-footed chip cross headed up in the air. Sar's there, but Chukwueze is as well. And he clears it away. Danso getting back there. He's knocked off his feet. Free kick to Spurs.
Yes.
One last chance.
Silly foul from King. They're managing to just about clear their penalty box. Madness.
Fulham on the verge of doing the double over Tottenham for just the second time. It should have been more comfortable really, but Spurs knocking on the door for an equaliser right at the death. Here's the free kick from Pedro Porro, clipped into the box. Richarlison rises, Palinha is blocked. That was going into the corner, and there is the final whistle, and Fulham have won it. It was way more nervy than it needed to be, but they do get the 3 points. Marco Silva would have rued those missed chances if they didn't get it over the line, but they have won it, and Palinha, their former former player came so close to the equaliser right at the end. And it's 10 Premier League games without a win for Spurs. Only once have they had a record like that, and that was under Ozzy Ardiles back in 1994. Fulham do the double over Spurs. It's finished here at the Cottage. Fulham 2, Tottenham 1.